Whether that comes from him or the players that he put together, I don't know. I mean, for me, his secret is that he treats us like professionals. He puts the lineup up and he lets us play. We have free reign. We can play aggressively without worrying about making mistakes. We make a mistake, we pat you on the back and tell you, all right, it's all right, you know. He doesn't mind as long as you make aggressive mistakes. You make stupid mistakes, well then that's a different story. But as long as you play hard for the man, you don't ever have a problem with him. And that's at this level, I think that's the way teams should be managed. I mean, there's certain situations where you might have a lot of really young kids, and you know, those teams probably need a little more, you know, a few more rules or to be controlled a little more. But here the players, we govern ourselves, and if somebody's not playing hard, the message gets sent. Doesn't need to be sent by them. So that's you know, for me, is the secret of his success, as well as great coaches too. I mean, Tommy Harper doesn't get the credit he deserves for the work he's done with these hitters we have, and he deserves a lot of credit.
David, thanks for your time. Good luck to you and the Expos.
Thanks.
That's David Segui of the Montreal Expos as they're set to try to sweep this three-game series here at Skydome. Now let's go back to baseball tonight. Here's Mike Toth.
Thanks, Buck. Appreciate that. David, one of the hitters. Dustin Hermanson, the pitcher, against Robert Persson, the former Met. He knows the Expos well. Oh, Canada. It's been a great series. The Montreal Expos with 2 straight victories, both 2-1 ball games. What, pray tell, will happen tonight? You know, the Toronto Blue Jays have been struggling at home. They've lost 7 straight at home. Their 17 home wins is a league low. They've got to get something going tonight. But Dan Schumann and Buck Martinez, it's going to be tough. That's a good Montreal Expo ball club.
It is a very good Montreal Expo ball club, Mike, and it's been 2 very good games so far. The Expos have won both 2-1. Played under American League rules, of course, Buck, here at Skydome. But the way these games have been moving along, it's felt like National League baseball.
Yeah, they've been quick, well-played games, and it all starts with the pitching. The pitching in this series has been phenomenal. Look what they have done in the first 2 ball games. The Expos have won the first 2 games by the exact score of 2-1. The first game was just over 2 hours. The second game not much longer, 2.5 hours. And the Jays continue to have problems at the plate. They have 25 strikeouts in the first 2 ball games. Joe Carter has struck out 7 straight times in this series. The Jays are just 5 for 58. They're hitting under 100. And on the other side of the coin, David Segui has worn him out. He's had an impact in both of these games.
And both of those RBIs, those have been the pivotal plays. One Otis Nixon lost, and one bounced over the head of Shawn Green. Let's bring in the Expos voice on TSN, Dave Van Horn. I guess the best way to play quick baseball is to get the kind of starting pitching Felipe Alou has gotten here so far.
Yeah, or hand the ball to Pedro Martinez. He's pitched the 2 quickest games we've had all year. Pedro's something special. When he goes to the mound, you expect him to make a bid for a no-hitter, maybe even a perfect game, maybe a big strikeout game. Jeff Juden, a reclamation project. Look what they have done in this series. Pedro allowing 1 run, Jeff Juden going 8 1/3, allowing 1 run. And then further to that, taking a look at the Expos pitcher for tonight, Dustin Hermanson. He throws hard. You're going to see another hard thrower, and he's got a changeup that he calls the atom bomb because it just explodes when it gets to the plate.
Well, he's a former reliever. Felipe Alou has moved him into the rotation with pretty good results. For the Blue Jays, Robert Persson getting his first regular work in a major league rotation. A couple of hard-throwing right-handers to wrap up this interleague series.
Yes, Dan was mentioning Dustin Hermanson, the former reliever, and he was a good one, too. He was the closer for the San Diego Padres, top farm club in Las Vegas, a AAA ball club there, and he had 21 saves a year ago, but the Expos seeing something in him as a starting pitcher, and he will go against Robert Persson tonight. We will continue to go in a big, big way here on Baseball Tonight, because coming up, an interview with number 8 of the Montreal Expos. That's all you have to say when it comes to Gary Carter. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Gary Carter is now part of the TSN team, but for 10 years, he was a Montreal Expo. He hit 220 home runs for Montreal. He drove in 823 runs, and his number 8 was retired by the Expos in '93. He'll be known forever in Montreal as the Kid. And the Kid joins us now from his home in Florida. He'll be watching this game with a great deal of interest tonight. Gary, what are your early impressions of interleague play?
I think it's outstanding, and it's also great to see the Expos play well against the rival Toronto Blue Jay team. But you see, I never was a part of the interleague play, so I'm not a firm advocate of it because we were always taught that you play against National League teams and then get your excitement, and there's a little bit of a secret that goes with playing an American League team. Now the National League teams and American League teams have the luxury of playing one another and can prepare a little bit more for, say, that World Series competition. I think it's great for baseball to see interleague play. I think that the fans were looking for that as well, to see the opportunity of looking at other great players that play over the American League or vice versa. And with what has transpired with all the strikes and things like that, this is the best part of the timing of what they needed as far as interleague play goes.
What did you think about the first two games between the Jays and Expos?
They've been outstanding, and I'm excited. I'm thrilled to death for the great pitching performances by Pedro Martinez and then Jeff Juden. Jeff Juden with a 14 strikeout performance. Pedro Martinez, again, another strong outing. And both teams have played with a great deal of enthusiasm and excitement, sellout crowds there at Sky Dome. I wish I could be there to see all of this because I've never been to Sky Dome, and I'd love to be a part of that. Hopefully in the years to come I'll have that luxury and opportunity to be a part of that. But it's just nice to see great competition and great games played between the two teams, and it reminds me back of the Lester B. Pearson Cup that we used to play, an annual exhibition game. And I just know that with the two teams only in Canada, there is a bit of rivalry, and so I think that's another reason why they've been such well-played games.
Gary, the pitching matchup tonight, Hermanson versus Person. What should we expect from these two guys this evening?
Well, Robert Pearson, I remember when he was in the Mets organization, and I had the luxury of catching him a little bit, and then he was with the Marlins, and I saw him in spring training of that one year. I was with them helping coach in 1993. But here's a guy that's got a good live fastball, good breaking stuff and all, and I think the pitching matchup will be an interesting one, and I believe with the Expos' momentum and knowing where they are in the standings and what they're up against, I know the Blue Jays would like to salvage at least one of the games of the series, and especially coming off that high that they had in Baltimore where they swept the Orioles in 4 games. And the Expos, again, with Juden winning last night's game against, well, probably one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the American League, in Roger Clemens, you know, tonight should be kind of a high for both sides, but I know the Blue Jays would like to come out on top.
Gary, thanks, and enjoy the game.
You're very welcome, and have fun at the game tonight. I'll be thinking, and I'll be there in spirit. Okay.
And there is a guy, thanks Gary, who really played the game with a whole lot of spirit, and a spirited wild card fight involving one of Gary's former teams. The New York Mets are in a battle with the Montreal Expos and the Florida Marlins, but I'll tell you what, the Mets have been tamed by the Tigers, losing the first 2 games of their interleague series. Detroit scoring 22 runs in the process. Let's get to game 3 and see what happens in this ball game this afternoon. Willie Blair and the Tigers hoping to sweep the Mets at Tiger Stadium. Rough start early. Top of 1, 2 on for Johnny B. Good. John Olerud grounds the second Damon easily with a great dive. Gets John Olerud, but Carl Everett scores, and it was 1-0 for the Mets. Tigers mascot trying to jinx the Mets, put the hex on. Bottom of the third, 1-1 ball game. Runner on third. Travis Fryman doubles past third, and Brian Hunter scores. And it was 2-1 for the Tigs at that point. Fast forward now to the bottom of 7, 6-4 for the Tigs. Tony Clark smacks a shot. He's got a chance to hit the hot tin roof. Yeah, solo blast, number 21 in the year, 7-4 for the Bengals. Bottom of the 8th, 7-6 for the Tigers now. Melvin Nieves hits a 2-run shot, destination left center field. The Tigers go up front 9-6, and they go on to win the ball game 9-7. So yes, they score 31 runs in the 3-game sweep, and the Mets do not like interleague play. They are a woeful 2-7. On to Chicago and the Royals, and hey, isn't this what teams have been doing to the Cubs all year? Just spanking them, yeah. First inning. Let's get to the ball game now. Enough of that. Tommy Goodwin will drive one to the gap, but Doug Glanville will dive and make the grab. But 11 a glove on baseball tonight. That's a great piece of leather right there. Bottom of the second, Sammy Sosa is going to step up to the plate. And this is what Sammy does best. He hammers the ball to right field. That's number 17 on the year, and that is why they pay him the big money. and it was 1-0 for the Cubbies. 5th inning, Craig Paquette is going to pop it up the right field. Sosa comes in, he loses it, and that's not why he makes the big bucks. Yeah, from the hero to the GOAT. 3-0 Cubs, 6th inning. Ryan Sandberg lines to left. Johnny Damon makes the sweet backhand grab. But the Cubs win. Bring out those brooms. That's right. The ladies have the right idea out there. They sweep the Royals right out of town. Foster goes to 10-5 on the year. And Mel Rojas, the former Montreal Expos, struggling. Only his 7th save of the year. Let's take a look at Oakland and San Fran now. And a lot of A's fans making the trip across the bay for this ballgame. Pick it up 2nd inning. The Giants were down 1-0. JT Snow erases that. He takes Mike Oquist deep to right field. Just like that, we are tied at 1 apiece. And this young fan began the day as an A's fan, but after this one, she's a little bit confused. 5th inning, 2 on for the big man, Mark McGuire. He takes Kirk Reeder the other way, 3-run shot. That is muscle power. Gives the A's a 5-1 lead in the Battle of the Bay. Still in the 5th, Oakland continues to play long ball. Scott Spezio, the former Edmonton Trapper, takes Dan Carlson over the fence, 2-run shot. And it's okay to bring out the A's hats now because they win the ball game in a big, big way, 8-1. The final score, although the Giants are still 6-3 in interleague play. We are back to wrap it and play ball at the Skydome after this.
It was eagerly anticipated, and so far the All-Canadian Series between the Expos and Jays has lived up to expectations. In the first 2 games, dominant pitching was the story for both clubs with a pair of close, low-scoring games. In Game 1, David Segui bloops a triple over Otis Nixon to score the winning run. And Pedro Martinez went the distance, striking out 10 as Montreal eked out a 2-1 win. Game 2 and a similar storyline. David Segui bloops a key RBI double past Sean Green, while starter Jeff Juden no-hit the Jays through 7 innings. Juden left in the 9th, but Uguet Urbina came in for the save as the Expos held on for another 2-1 win. Tonight, former Met Robert Persson takes to the hill for the Jays, coming off a big win over Baltimore. His opponent, Dustin Hermanson, also defeated the Orioles in his previous interleague start. We've seen some fantastic baseball, and now the Expos are poised for the sweep. Game 3 of the All-Canadian Series is next.
Labatt Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Tonight, the Expos and the Blue Jays, live from Skydome.
With TSN, you're always live and interactive. A little interleague baseball in an American League park tonight as the Jays host the Montreal Expos. It is going to be fun. I was at the game on Monday, loved it. Yesterday, as I was strolling around taking part in some of Toronto's Canada Day activities, I listened to the game on the radio, absolutely loved it, and I can hardly wait for Game 3 tonight. And I just know that Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez feel the same way. Gentlemen, start your engines. I know it's going to be fun tonight.
All right, Mike, thank you. It sure is. If it's anything like the first 2 games, a couple of 2-1 affairs, both won by the Expos. It's a little thick and soupy down here right now, very humid, and there is the talk of some rain in the forecast. Who knows if we'll survive with the roof open. 2 key plays, Buck, 1 each game, have really cost the Blue Jays.
Well, on Tuesday, David Segui lifts a fly ball to left field. Sean Green never saw it. By the time they recovered and get back to the infield, F.P. Santangelo scores. That gives them the lead. Then in the 6th inning on Monday, again it's Segui. Look at Otis Nixon in center field. He had his arms out. He never saw the ball until it went back to the screen. All the way back to the wall in center. That was an RBI triple for Segui. I talked to Otis about what happens in situations like that when they lose balls in the outfield.
Buck, you always say, well, man, I hope this ball, you look around and you're trying to see the ball, and you say, I don't want this ball to be hit to me. But in that situation, I said, if anybody can catch it, I think I can get it. Hit it to me. Didn't have a chance. And it was a costly play because they scored a run on it, and ended up being a factor of the game. But, you know, it's nothing you can do about it. I don't care how good an outfielder you are. There's nothing you can do about it. Pat Hinton came up to him after the game. He said after the ball went on my head, I looked back, he never saw it. Nobody could do anything. So
That's a helpless feeling for any defensive player. When you see the ball come off the bat, you know it's headed your way, but then you lose it. And Henkin showed a lot of class when he went up to Otis after the game and said, hey, man, I know you're out there battling, but you can't worry about that. It was just a tough play.
Pat Henkin and Roger Clemens both pitched well enough to win, but the Expo pitchers were better, and the Expos didn't have the problems in the outfield that the Blue Jays have had the last couple of nights, and that's why Otis Nixon, the only man in the park to have played for both teams, the only active player to have played for both teams, he's been on the wrong end of the 2-2-1 games. The Expos have won them both as the Blue Jays take the field defensively. A sellout yesterday on Canada Day, the first in 2 years for the Blue Jays. Far short of a sellout here tonight as Robert Person gets set to make the start for the Blue Jays against the Montreal Expos, whose starting lineup is brought to you by Midas for new longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads. These Expos can hit the ball. Ryan McGuire's a good story. Called up when David Segui was injured. He has stayed even after Segui has become healthy. And here in an American League Park has earned some DH time. Outstanding rookie Vladimir Guerrero, and one of those scrappy overachievers, F.P. Santangelo, plays all over the diamond for Felipe Alou.
Robert Person has his hands full tonight because there are a lot of scrappy hitters in that lineup. His record stands at 3-5. 3 of those wins have come in his last 4 starts. He is really starting to throw the ball very well. He's much more aggressive. He's pounding that strike zone. He's held the opponents to a .243 batting average. Look at the walks. He's got good command. He throws a little bit harder than people would expect. He'll touch 93, 94 miles an hour. It's a good combination of power and off-speed pitches. He's got a good curveball and a pitch he calls a fosh. It's a good off-speed pitch. Defensively, of course, we talked about the 2 misplayed balls looming so large in this series so far. Joe Carter returns to left field. It was Sean Green there yesterday. Nixon and Merced round out the outfield. Ed Sprague, Alex Gonzalez on the left side, Carlos Garcia and Carlos Delgado on the right side, and Benito Santiago catches for the first time in this series.
There's been a change in the umpiring crew. No change for the man who was supposed to work behind the plate. There's Derwood Merrill. He'll call the balls and strikes. Davey Phillips is the late addition in place of Ted Barrett, who seemingly has been with the Blue Jays for a couple of weeks in a row.
Now, Davey Phillips is at second base tonight. He had just gone home to St. Louis. He has become a grandfather, so that's why he was away.
Blue Jays getting set to welcome the Yankees, and the Expos getting set to take on the Atlanta Braves for 4 big games. Interleague play has been very kind to the Montreal Expos. They have the best interleague record in the majors. They won 2 here. They went down to Baltimore, took 2 out of 3.
Yeah, they have played very well, and anytime you get the kind of pitching that the Blue Jays have had to deal with in this series, Pedro Martinez on Monday and Jeff Juden here yesterday, Expos going to win a lot of ball games.
After that Oriole Expos series, Pat Gillick said he likes the Expos everyday players better than any other team that he has seen. Here's one of the very talented players for the Expos, the shortstop Mark Grzelcyk. Leading it off, it'll be Grzelcyk, Lansing, and then Henry Rodriguez here in the first inning against Robert Person. Person coming off a very good outing at Baltimore, 7 2/3, just 3 hits allowed. He has won 3 of his last 4 starts. As Grzelcyk pops one up, foul, right side. Delgado will not have a play on this one.
Well, you got to believe that every defensive player on the field for the Blue Jays are going to be very aware of anything hit in the air, and they should all converge just in case one of the players loses the ball. Dan mentioned Robert Person being much more aggressive in his last 4 starts. He's more confident. I think he now believes that his stuff is good enough to win on a consistent basis.
Did not have himself a starting job at the beginning of the season. Spent some time on the DL, came off the DL in late May and got hammered twice, and those are the only 2 subpar starts Robert Person has made.
Here's another guy that likes interleague play. So much for the scouting reports, eh?
There's a ground ball to short. Gonzalez to his left retires his counterpart, Grzelcyk, 1 down.
One thing you have to do when you're on the infield playing the Expos is you make sure you don't take too much time, because every one of these guys hustles down the first baseline. Alex goes behind the bag at second base, rights himself, and uses that strong arm to retire Grzelcyk.
Second batter is the second baseman, Mike Lansing. who has probably become the most vocal Expo, and maybe hand in hand with that, the guy next most likely to be traded as the Expos try to pare back their payroll. Will they be forced to deal Mike Lansing? There have been teams inquiring about his services.
Well, there have been a lot of rumors about Lansing and where he's going to go. The New York Yankees have been in the middle of those rumors. Of course, they've got all kinds of problems with second base. He's hot right now. Pat Kelly and Luis Sojo are doing most of the playing at second base for New York right now, and Mariano Duncan's just an extra guy that doesn't get a chance to play.
There's a bit of a misconception about some of the Expo players. They do work as hard as anybody and get down the line, and they love playing for Felipe Alou, but they are not thrilled with Expo management. And as hard as some of these guys play for the Expos, some of them do want out, as Lansing sends a fly ball to center. Nixon is there. There's no question that they know they're not going to earn the same amount of money in Montreal they could earn elsewhere, and some of them know they're just biding their time until that inevitable trade.
Well, you always got to believe that the grass is greener somewhere else, and for guys like Lansing and Henry Rodriguez, I mean, they're pretty attractive players.
Here's another pretty attractive player, the #1 power hitter for Montreal, left fielder Henry Rodriguez. It was Rodriguez, of course, a year ago who had such a huge first half and started the whole O. Henry craze with the chocolate bars being thrown on the field. That has calmed down. Rodriguez's bat has calmed down a certain amount, but he's still a pretty reliable power hitter in the middle of Alou's order.
You're going to see stats all over the map with these batting averages. Some guys really have trouble. They go up against a pitcher they're not familiar with. They just don't feel comfortable.
Well, you're in the American League East, and you face the staffs of Florida and Atlanta among your interleague opponents. You've got problems. Montreal with Juden and Martinez. You're a Central team. You don't have so much trouble.
Anybody in the East on both sides, National League and American League, going to have to deal with some pretty tough pitching staffs.
You can see that from the all-star rosters which were completed today. Strike three called. Person gets Rodriguez to end the first, gets the Expos in order. Blue Jays coming up against Dustin Hermanson. Dustin Hermanson to take on the Blue Jays. The Toronto lineup is brought to you by Midas for new longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads. One of the reasons the Blue Jays are struggling, the highest average they have is 281 in their starters. The lowest average the Expos have is 271. Joe Carter in particular probably not a big fan of interleague play at this point in time after what the Expos have done to him.
Well, he's going to see another hard thrower in Dustin Hermanson, who's 3-4. This is his 14th start this year. Also his 14th start in professional baseball. He made his first start of his pro career on the 22nd of April this year.
Leadoff man is Otis Nixon. Center fielder for the Blue Jays, hitting 270 on the season, hitting from the strong side of the plate for him. He's about 100 points better left-handed than right-handed. As he looks at a strike, it's 1-1. There are the numbers. 120-point difference. Well, the Blue Jays have some pretty wild splits. For Joe Carter and Ed Sprague, it's the other way. They hit lefties about 100 points better than righties this year.
Both Carter and Sprague are hitting over 300 against left-handers, and they're hovering right around 200 against right-handers.
Blue Jays have had all kinds of trouble getting all the wheels in motion at the same time. On the appeal, he is gone.
Pretty enthusiastic call there, eh? Dustin Hermanson is developing a pretty effective changeup, and that's what gets Otis Nixon right here. You see him trying to hold up his swing, but he went too far. He's a power pitcher all the way. Fastball, slider, and a pretty good changeup that he's becoming more comfortable with.
#2 man is Orlando Merced. And he is the owner of the club's highest batting average at 281. Had himself a good June. Has hit very well up in the 2 spot. Coming off a sore right shoulder, he sustained making a diving catch in Baltimore. Cost him 1 game and then had him DHing a 2nd game.
You can see a lot of movement from Hermanson with that fastball. He has been basically throughout his minor league career, he was groomed to be a closer. The Expos already have a 23-year-old closer, so Felipe Alou early in the season said, you know what, we're going to start this guy. So Alou told his pitching coach Bobby Cuellar, let's start him. He's making some defensive alignment. There's Cuellar, who was with Seattle the last couple of years.
And that's it for Orlando Merced. Dustin Hermanson trying to follow the lead of Pedro Martinez and Jeff Juden.
Now, so far, Hermanson doesn't need them, but he may before the night's over. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment. It's Rodriguez, White, and Guerrero in the outfield. Young Vladimir Guerrero, a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. And Rondell White made a tremendous catch here on Monday. Probably saved a run-tying situation. Very athletic center fielder.
2 down for Joe Carter as he chases the very same pitch that has cost him the last couple of days. He has swung at more balls than strikes.
Well, you can see that Hermanson tried to get him to chase it again. 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts in this series. He'll be happy to see the Yankees here tomorrow, won't he? You see, when they pick up on something that Carter wasn't hitting that slider, they're going to pound it, throw him a lot of sliders. They have thrown him 3 in a row.
Two balls and a strike, 2 down, nobody on. Now 3-1 to Carter. His last 6 consecutive at-bats have been strikeouts. His average down to 236. And it's a walk. It's a small step, but a step Joe Carter will gladly accept as he reaches base for the first time this series.
The first baseman, number 25, Carlos Delgado.
Two-out walk to Carter. And here's the first baseman, Carlos Delgado, for his first at-bat of the night. He said he knew yesterday as soon as the ball left the bat he did not hit it hard enough to get it out. Delgado hit one just shy of the warning track at right center. Had it gone out, the Blue Jays would have won. It fell short. Got it a bit off the end of the bat and knew right away it just didn't have the legs. This one, on the other hand, has plenty of legs. Off the facing of the third deck. 2-0 Toronto.
Third baseman, number 33,
Carlos hit a home run here on Monday against Pedro Martinez, and he crushes this ball. The movement took it right out over to the middle of the plate, and you can see he hit it off the facing of the third deck in right field. No question about that.
A home run on Monday night, a near game-winning home run yesterday, and then a home run to start things off here tonight. And enough haze as it is without the fireworks and the smoke that is lingering from the home run over the infield right now. Roof open. Blue Jays ran into trouble with some fog a couple of weeks ago, remember. Here's Ed Sprague.
There's a perfect example of a pitcher losing concentration. You've got Carter up with 2 outs. He's 0 for 8, and you walk him. You bring to the plate a powerful hitter in Delgado.
Sprague will pop one up right side. David Segui makes the catch, and the inning is over. Blue Jays, though, have taken the lead. Hermanson surrenders a mammoth home run to Carlos Delgado. Down by the shores of Lake Ontario, Robert Person has himself an early 2-0 lead.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for Robert Person. He's got a fastball, a curveball that's been improving all the time, the slider, changeup, and the fosh. That's a forkball changeup he uses. His last 4 starts, he's been very effective. 3-1 with an average of about 7 runs, 7 innings per start.
The Blue Jays with a 2-0 lead on the Delgado home run, picking up a hit in this series for the first time earlier than the 6th inning. As Segui sends one in the air to left. Carter over toward the line. Reaches into the seats and cannot come out with a baseball. Did not get a lot of help down there from the hometown fans.
You remember some of these fans have come from Montreal.
As the fans were put up on the Jumbotron, they got booed by other fans who were saying to them, hey, get out of the way. It's potentially a catchable ball if they clear out.
Yeah, the lefty got it, though. He called for it, I guess. I got it, Joe.
Good numbers for Segui. Cleanup hitter for the Expos, a guy who just about became a Baltimore Oriole. As he sends another one to foul left side. The Orioles were looking at Segui, who had played with Baltimore earlier in his career, appeared to have a deal all but done. And then for whatever reason, perhaps the intervention of owner Peter Angelos, set their sights instead on Geronimo Berroa of Oakland, who they eventually acquired. 1-2.
Well, with Berroa, the Orioles will get a little more pop. With Segui, you get a switch hitter that is a 300 hitter. And they've had him before. They know what he's all about. Very good fielding first baseman, but obviously he wouldn't do much of that in Baltimore with Palmeiro there.
Up high, full count. The way the Expos operate has kind of changed. It used to be all homegrown players. Now it's reclamation projects to a large extent. They've brought in from other organizations, have given a chance, and they've been rewarded. Segui with a drive right center. Well hit. And David Segui has hit it out. Number 7 for Segui cuts the Blue Jay lead in half.
Well, this is the way the first 2 games in this series finished, 2-1, and already they've scored 3 runs. They got to a full count with Segui, and he got a fastball and hit it off windows above the center field fence.
Now the DH Ryan McGuire. Segui flashed a little bit of that power before the game. He hit one fair into the 5th deck during batting practice. As McGuire takes low, 2-0. Does a lot of things right. McGuire moved up to the 5 spot in the order. He drives one to right center field. Merced makes a running catch.
Boy, that was a fine play by Orlando Merced. McGuire hit what looked like sure extra bases. But twice during the long run, Merced looked down to see how much room he had. And then he makes a running grab just short of the warning track. It almost straightaway center. They were shaded around toward right. He had a long run.
One big home run measured at 434 feet, and then one big running catch by Merced. And here's the right fielder, Vladimir Guerrero, with a wild swing for strike 1. Might have tweaked his back a little bit. Great numbers for the rookie, who's been on the DL twice. Inside. This guy's the whole package.
Yeah, he can do everything. He's got a great arm. He was on a highlight show at Shea Stadium when he threw out a base runner from almost up against the wall and right.
He rips one over the head of Gonzalez into left center. The Expos getting their hacks in as Guerrero steams into second. Nobody covering the bag. Robert Person came from the mound and was the only guy even close to second base.
Well, the infielders got fouled up because they expected that ball to go through. Carlos Garcia was over in line toward third base. Nixon cut it off through to second base, and the only one there is the pitcher. Watch the play by Nixon. He cuts it off and then throws it to second. But you can see the infielders are lined up toward third base, and that's Person. He's the only one that's close enough to second to even knock this ball down.
Good hustle by Guerrero going all the way out of the batter's box. He's got a 1-out double. And here's the versatile F.P. Santangelo playing third base. Another guy who has become more than you might have expected under the guidance of Felipe Alou. Santangelo spent 3.5 years at AAA before making his major league debut, and has turned into one of the best utility players in all of baseball. He might be even too good to call a utility player.
Yeah, he's almost like a regular that just happens to play different positions all the time. He has played in the outfield. He's a former shortstop who was converted to a utility player in the minors. He's not had a lot of success in these situations, in my opinion, because he's kind of a tightly wrapped guy. Mel Queen saw something that he wanted to discuss with Robert Person, so he came out of the dugout. Person in his last 4 starts has been very compact in his delivery. He's been very calm and confident on the mound. And maybe after giving up that long home run and then a deep drive to right center, he started pushing a little bit too hard, and Mel Queen came out to give him a little reminder. Hey, get back in your delivery. Your stuff's still good.
Runner at second, Guerrero, 1 down. And Santangelo takes strike 2. What you were saying about him being tightly wrapped and just looking at the numbers, this guy's as close to a Tony Phillips as the National League has.
Well, that's a good comparison. Same intensity, same drive. He's out there to beat you, and he doesn't care how he does it.
Gets on base a ton. Takes down and in. Santangelo's third in the National League in on base percentage at .440.
He told me earlier today, he said, you know, I'd love to be an everyday center fielder. So that's my favorite position, but right now I'll play wherever they put me.
Rondell White out in center for Montreal. Santangelo chases one up and out of the strike zone, and that's the second out of the inning.
Well, the Expos through the month of June really struggled at the plate. They hit .255 as a team, and Felipe Alou saw his team chase a lot of these high fastballs. They get over anxious and they'll chase that ball upstairs.
2 down. Person trying to strand the tying run out at second. Rondell White's the batter. He's the center fielder for the Expos. Made that fabulous catch out in center field Monday night. It's hard to avoid saying good things about each of these guys. I mean, they all are playing extremely well right now. White has been struggling a bit with the bat and has been dropped down, but in terms of what they bring to the ballpark on a day in day out basis, nobody's mailing it in for the Expos. Garcia will make the catch, and the inning is over. Booming home run off Person. David Segui hit it out. 1-out double stranded at 2-1 Toronto.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for Dustin Hermanson. He's got a good fastball, a slider, and a straight changeup that's getting better all the time. We mentioned he's a converted reliever. This is just his 14th professional start. His last start against the Florida Marlins down in Florida, he had to leave the game after 2 innings. He was dehydrated and had cramps. Actually, 2 ball players had to leave that game for the Expos. It was a hot, muggy 3-day series down there.
Leadoff man for the Blue Jays here in the second is the designated hitter Shawn Green. A couple of home runs already in this game. Segui for the Expos. Delgado for the Blue Jays. It was Green's home run yesterday that broke up Jeff Juden's bid for a no-hitter. In the 8th inning, Pedro Martinez took a no-hitter to the 6th Monday night. Juden took a no-hitter to the 8th yesterday. And a pop-up into shallow center field. In comes Rondell White to make the catch, and Green is retired.
The catcher, number 18, Benito Santiago.
1 down on the Blue Jays second for the catcher Benito Santiago. Still struggling to get over that 200 mark. Bad combination the Blue Jays have had going offensively for most of the season. Low average, not a lot of home runs. They're last in the league in walks, and they strike out a lot, so they have not helped themselves. Swing and a miss by Santiago. It's 0-2. When they won the 4 games in Baltimore, the strikeouts turned into sac flies. They just did the little things that got single runs in here and there.
Yeah, and they were matched up against tough pitchers like they are in this series. Santiago continues his season-long struggle over the last 10 games.
Off the end of the bat into left. In comes Rodriguez to make the catch. 2 down on fly balls here in the second.
Shortstop number 8, Alex Gonzalez.
And now the shortstop Alex Gonzalez will get his first at bat of the night against right-hander Dustin Hermanson. You can see as the numbers come up, batter after batter for the Blue Jays has an on-base percentage in the 200s. FP Santangelo, and he's an exception. He's way up there among the leaders. He's at 440.
Well, Willie Upshaw has talked about the hitters being impatient and swinging at a lot of bad balls, not taking the walks.
Sharply hit out to second. Mike Lansing on a hop to get Gonzalez, and that's it. Willie Upshaw's hitters didn't have a second like they had a first when Delgado homered as Hermanson gets the Jays in order. The all-star rosters were rounded out today. A look at the National League first. Tom Glavine, one of 7 Atlanta Braves, being taken to the all-star game by Bobby Cox. Pedro Martinez is the only Montreal Expo headed to Cleveland for the all-star game. 10-man pitching staff, 28-man team for both the National and American leagues. Jeff Juden had a legitimate chance to go.
Yeah, he sure did. He had a great first half, and you could have picked him and not been questioned too much. It's the game of his life here yesterday. His father was here. Fred Juden came up from Massachusetts and saw his sons strike out 14 Blue Jays.
And beat his childhood idol in Roger Clemens in the process. Juden grew up in Massachusetts and outdueled Clemens yesterday. Person ahead of the catcher, Chris Widger, a ball and 2 strikes. He reaches for it and stays alive. Darren Fletcher, the #1 catcher for the Expos, is on the DL. Eligible to come off tomorrow. Widger has filled in admirably, at least in interleague play, hitting .275 with 4 homers overall. Great catch by Alex Gonzalez, diving to his right.
There have been some bullets hit off Robert Pearson tonight, and this time this one is speared by Alex Gonzalez. What a great play. He left his feet and stabbed that ball before he came down hard on the Sky Dome artificial surface.
That's the 4th ball that has been hit like a bullet by the Expos. 2 of them have wound up as outs. There's a fly ball to left off the bat of Grzelcyk. Carter is there, 2 down. Let's round out that NL All-Star team for you. The reserves. Again, Braves all over the place, and a few ex-Expos as well, including Andres Galarraga. John Olerud nosed out at first base. Mark Grace is the only Cub going. Every team has to be represented. Chipper Jones, no surprise. Ray Langford spent the first few weeks on the DL and played well enough to earn himself a trip to Cleveland.
Yeah, he's got 16 homers and 53 ribbies, and he's hitting .327.
2 down for Mike Lansing, and he'll take a pitch outside. Lansing with a fly ball to center his first time up. If you look at Expo All-Stars, everybody does their part. There are no superstars really, unless you want to start saying that Pedro Martinez deserves to be included in that category. He's got the best ERA in the major leagues, but everybody just does what they're asked to do.
I think that reflects Felipe Alou's personality. He understands the importance of putting the team first. He doesn't ever let anybody get too impressed with themselves, and talks about hustle and drive and makeup. You know, if they do move David Segui off this team, it'll be the third number 4 hitter they've lost in the last 3 years. Larry Walker, Moises Alou, and David Segui. Not many managers can deal with that.
Person ahead of Lansing, a ball and 2 strikes. And a ground ball foul down the third base line. Well, they've lost a couple of closers in John Wetland and Mel Rojas. A couple of good starters in Ken Hill and Jeff Facero. Andres Galarraga. They traded Delgado to Shields and ended up with Pedro Martinez. This guy was playing for an independent A-League team back in 1991 when the Expos found him and signed him. Person will get him. Robert Person's 3rd strikeout of the night and his second a 3-up, 3-down inning. Well, you knew Roger Clemens was going to the All-Star game, but the most surprised guy in the ballpark today might have been Pat Henkin. He did not think he was headed to Cleveland. Scott Erickson is not, and he has had an awfully big year for the Orioles. Henkin was very surprised to be included.
Yeah, he expected Erickson to be named and was genuinely surprised when he was told today. But he'll take the trip. Talking about having 3 days off for going to an All-Star game, and I'll go to the All-Star game.
The 3rd time in his career he's gone to the All-Star game. So I said to him before the game, so this year, last year, and he goes, no, not last year. And you forget it was all in the second half. And Pat Henkin won the Cy Young Award last year without being included on the All-Star team.
I believe he was 8-6 at the All-Star break.
0-2 on Carlos Garcia, who slaps one into right field. A leadoff base hit here in the 3rd.
Center fielder number 2, Nixon.
Rounding out the rest of the team, hey, Albert Bell's going back to Cleveland. A couple of well-deserved All-Star berths for Jeff Cirillo of Milwaukee and Joey Cora of Seattle, and the rookie Nomar Garciaparra will represent the Boston Red Sox. McGuire and Thomas included. Tony Clark among those left out. Sandy Alomar Jr. What an ovation he's going to get.
27-game hit streak still working for Alomar. Bernie Williams was activated today. He was on the DL with a hamstring problem. He played in the game for the Yankees, so obviously he will play in the All-Star game.
Here's Otis Nixon. Struck out his first time. Garcia at first.
Garcia hit an 0-2 fastball into right field for a base hit. And he's always a threat to run. He's 9 for 10.
Nixon shows bunt, bunts it back to the mound. But slowly enough, hit in a big enough pop that Hermanson did not have a play. It's a sacrifice for Nixon, moving Garcia up to second.
That thing kind of developed very slowly as Otis hit it right off the dirt in front of home plate. And Hermanson came in to make a play on it. You see Garcia top of your screen. He got a good break at first base because it was a bouncing ball. And then Hermanson just tosses to first, and Nixon is retired.
So a runner at second, 1 down for Orlando Merced. Caught looking back in the first inning, hitting .280 on the season. Santangelo sneaking in at third as Merced fouls off the first pitch into the mid of Widger. Strike one.
Although his numbers have improved dramatically overall as a hitter, he is still not where he will be eventually in the run production department.
The 0-1 pulled into right field, a base hit. Garcia got a very late break on that ball, and look at the throw from Guerrero in right. Carlos Garcia only goes to third.
Garcia couldn't tell where that line drive was hit, and he doesn't get a good jump at all. I guess he thought that maybe Segui was going to make a catch on it, so he had some doubts, but look at this throw. Man, one hop right on the money. It handcuffs the catcher. Take a look at Garcia. It's a line drive, and he has to wait until it clears. We had a much better angle and could see that was well out of Segui's reach. But you don't want to challenge this guy.
One of the lost arts of baseball, the outfield throwing arm. Guerrero's got it. Blue Jays have runners on the corners, one down for Joe Carter. Walked and scored on Delgado's homer in the first. A chance to drive in a run here in the third. Over the next couple of innings, Buck, you and I are going to go our separate ways.
I've finally chased you away.
That's
huh?
right. You've driven me right out of the booth. Dave Van Horn, the longtime voice of the Expos on TSN and of course on the radio as well, is going to come on up here for a couple of innings to visit with you. As Joe Carter pops one up to right. Garcia back to tag. Here's Guerrero and that arm again. This ball's not hit deep at all, and Garcia will not test. Expo fans cheering, Blue Jay fans booing.
Yeah, he wasn't very deep at all. He's got 7 assists so far this season. He's thrown out 4 at home plate. So Nick Leyva said, you know what, as he comes closer and closer to the infield, Leyva was anxious to stop Garcia. You see Widger comes well up the line, and look how far down the line Leyva was, and he put up the stop sign for Garcia. Vladimir Guerrero actually threw out his brother at first base. He doubled him up on a fly ball. Wilton Guerrero is the second baseman for the Dodgers.
He of the corked bat incident a while back.
So much so that they've called him Corky now.
Guy's 150 pounds soaking wet. 2 down. It'll be up to Delgado again. A 2-out 2-run homer in the first. Swinging strike 1 here against Hermanson in the third. By all rights, the Blue Jays should have had a run home already this inning. Garcia did not get a good read on the Merced base hit. He's at third. Merced's at first. Delgado's hitting .267. On the Blue Jays, those numbers rank near the top of the group. .16 home runs on the season to lead the club. 1 and 2.
Boy, there's that changeup. Carlos hit a good fastball for a home run his first time up on the first pitch, and now Hermanson is giving him a steady diet of off-speed pitches. And watch how it gets out on that front foot, and his body is well ahead of the ball.
Hermanson out in front of 1 and 2. Try to strand a couple. And a pop-up. And the inning is over. Blue Jays strand 2. We saw the great arm of Vladimir Guerrero. Dave Van Horn coming for a couple of innings. I'm headed to Expo Radio. We'll see you in the 6th.
This Baseball Tonight update is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business.
Hi, everybody. Interleague Baseball is sweeping the nation. All 28 Major League teams in action today or tonight, involved in 14 Interleague games, and we are keeping our eyes on the game involving the Boston Red Sox and the Florida Marlins. We'll take you there for the second inning when we pick it up, and Mike Stanley is going to lead off that second inning for the Bo Sox with a home run. There you go, his 9th of the year. So, yes, the Bo Sox on the board. And I'll tell you, Boston loves this interleague stuff. They are 6-2, but hold on, the Marlins have taken the lead. It is now 2-1 in the third. The Expos, meantime, 2 back of Florida in the wild card race.
Back at Sky Dome and on into the 4th inning of play, and it looks like 2-1 are the numbers to play this week.
That's been the scoring in this whole series, Dave, and welcome to Sky Dome. Great to have you here.
Great to be here. Believe it or not, Buck, this series my first time ever in Sky Dome. And a great ballpark. Henry Rodriguez to lead off this 4th inning. Rodriguez was called out on strikes in the first inning. And up against Robert Person, then David Segui and Ryan McGuire. And Henry cranks one foul on the ground behind first base, and a ball and a strike. Last year, Henry Rodriguez had a great first half, 25 home runs, 70 RBIs, did not make the All-Star team, but was named as a replacement 2 days after the extra men were named.
Well, it's a tough situation. There's so many good players that deserve to go. Rodriguez, of course, last year making it late, and then Lansing, I guess you could argue that he should be one of the extras.
Rodriguez down on strikes. Second time Robert Person has struck him out tonight.
Well, Person all of a sudden is getting a little more movement on his fastball. This pitch down and away from Rodriguez, and with 2 strikes, he chases it. You can see how he loses his balance in an effort to make contact with 2 strikes.
Segui, the batter, hitting at .333. He homered in the second, the only Expos run so far in the game. Number 7 on the year for Segui. Switch hitter. Ball 1 and no strikes. Mike Lansing was not surprised about the All-Star situation. Buck said he didn't expect to be named. He hasn't been an outstanding second baseman. I mean, Biggio's done a good job, but hasn't been an outstanding second baseman in the National League.
Now, the first guy I think of that could have been a candidate was Brett Boone in Cincinnati, and he's having an awful year.
2-0 pitch hit foul to the seats. Look out. One of those hard line drives.
You could also probably talk about DeShields, a former Expo that's having a decent season for the Cardinals, but Lansing's the kind of guy you got to see play every day to really get an appreciation for what a good player he is.
Tony Womack, to a degree, has been a surprise at Pittsburgh. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's up high, and he's stolen a lot of bases, but other than that, there are no numbers that really jump out. 3-1 the count on Segui with McGuire on deck. Inning number 4, 2-1 Jays. Segui takes ball 4. The first walk issued by Robert Person, and Ryan McGuire will be the batter. Serving as the DH in this series, flied to right his first time up tonight. This is the highest McGuire has hit in the order when he first had an opportunity to play when David Segui was injured. McGuire was called up from Ottawa. Felipe hit him down in the bottom part of the order. Here's a throw to first base, and Felipe said, I want to hit him 7th or 8th because I don't want anyone to confuse him with that other McGuire.
Get him too high up there and they'll pitch him tough.
Ryan's responded to his opportunity, Buck, because you can see the numbers. Broken bat off the glove of the first baseman Delgado, then past Garcia, and what a break for the Expos.
And it'll be a base hit. Delgado was going to have to go to the backhand, and he got just a piece of it. And because Garcia was coming over to make a play, watch how these two infielders cross paths. Right there, it's tipped, and Garcia overruns it and then tries to reach back with his bare hand, but he can't make a play on it. Garcia's thinking about a 3-6-3 double play right there, and then Carlos Garcia gets it, but he didn't have much of a chance.
Saw a little stutter step too by David Segui, who got off the bag. The ball's hit right at him. He saw it carry him off the glove of Delgado, and Segui thought, what am I going to do?
Now he thought he might be right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Vladimir Guerrero doubled in the second. Runners at first and second for the Expos with 1 out.
I got to ask you this. Where do you get these guys? You got Ryan McGuire, then you get Guerrero. I mean, these are two pretty talented young players.
Yeah, and Vladimir Guerrero, Felipe feels that he is the best 5-tool player Felipe has seen in the organization, either managing in the low minors or managing the majors. A drive to deep right center, way back. Nixon, Merced watching, and it's gone. A 3-run home run for Vladimir Guerrero. And the Expos take a 4-2 lead.
Well, Vladimir Guerrero is just everything that We thought he would be. A lot of power. Look at that ball. Outside corner, about knee high, and he drives it over the wall in right center. Look at the extension on this swing. I mean, this is not a big muscular guy, but boy, he got through that ball easily.
F.P. Santangelo, the batter, hitting at .310. Ball 1 and no strikes. Guerrero with a 3-run home run. His 5th home run of the season, his 6th major league homer, and a high fly ball to left, sending Carter back and under it. Out number 2. Guerrero, interestingly enough, has shown the power. Hit 1 home run last September, now has hit 5 this year. He has yet to hit one to the left of straightaway center field. He's hit 4 home runs to straightaway right field and 2 to right center.
Boy, that's a hitting coach's dream for somebody to have that good a coverage going the opposite way with power.
Rondell White hits a high chopper. Sprague fires, and he got it there in time to get the speedy Rondell White. A 3-run home run by Vladimir Guerrero. And the Expos now lead 4-2. Now the Expos with a 7-1 record against American League opponents. They may be frustrated at times looking at the National League East standings, having to play against the Atlanta Braves. Someone suggested early in the season the Expos were in the wrong division. Someone may suggest soon they're in the wrong league.
They love the American League. They've gone up against some pretty tough pitchers, including Henkin and Clemens here in this series.
Ed Sprague, the batter. And he's 0 for 1. Dustin Hermanson for the Expos, and now has a 4-2 lead. Sprague, Green, and Santiago for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 4th. Hermanson catching the outside corner. He's an interesting case, Hermanson, because he came over to the Expos as a short man in the bullpen, which is where the Marlins were going to use him, which is where San Diego did use him. Felipe wanting to give him an opportunity to start. There's that off-speed pitch, and a ball and 2 strikes. I'm not too sure at this point, Buck, although Felipe leaves a little bit of an opening. I'm not too sure that before the season is over, Hermanson might wind up back in the bullpen, depending on how things go for the Expos.
Well, he looks like the type of guy that could pitch like Mariano Rivera did ahead of John Wetland. And with Urbina down there having such a good year, Alou has the option of saying, you know what, we could go 6 innings with the starters and then run Hermanson out there, set up for Urbina, and that's a pretty good combination. I love the reason that Felipe made the move back in April. He saw that Hermanson just wasn't going to get enough innings to really develop, so he approached him about starting, and I think Hermanson was pretty surprised by the move.
He hadn't started since he pitched at Kent State. Pitches up high to Sprague. Full count to Sprague. Hermanson delivered a 2-out walk to Joe Carter in the 1st inning. That preceded the home run by Carlos Delgado. Now he's in danger of issuing a leadoff walk to Ed Sprague here in the 4th. A fly ball to right field. Guerrero back. 1 down in the 4th. Let's go to Baseball Tonight and Mike Toth.
Guys, Pittsburgh going for the sweep against the White Sox, and the old warhorse Dale Swain getting a chance to play, having some fun, hitting around .290, and this is his 6th home run. Dale's a former Calgary Cannon, so he's faced Dustin Hermanson in the Coast League a number of times.
Well, Dale Swain hit 25 home runs for the Brewers back in '87, and he is making a contribution to that good story in Pittsburgh.
Here's Sean Green, the DH. Flied to center his first time up. Batting .271, a ball and no strikes. Felipe took a look at Jeff Fassero a few years ago. It kicked around in the Cardinal minor league system and then working out of the bullpen for the Expos. And then things kind of bottomed out for Fassero one day in San Francisco. And he served up a 3-0 fastball to Barry Bonds, who hit it for a home run. And it wasn't known whether Felipe would ever hand the ball to relief pitcher Jeff Fassero again. Base hit right side. Green with a single past Segui going to his right. 4th hit for the Jays, and they have a runner on.
Well, Sean Green continues to swing the bat very well. We can see Segui with a good effort, but that ball gets under his glove and sneaks into right field. A one-out single for Green, his first hit tonight.
Green aboard Santiago up, fly to left his first time, and Felipe took a look at Jeff Fassero, knew that he had a live arm, said rather than send him back to the minor leagues or not hand him the ball again in the bullpen, let's do something else. Let's start him. Here's a high fly ball bringing Guerrero in, sending Lansing out. Guerrero at the last moment right on top of Lansing, who made the play. And how in the world Guerrero kept from knocking Lansing all the way back into the infield, I don't know.
Well, Alou is a former outfielder, and he's had a couple of plays in the last week or so with miscommunications between outfielders and infielders. Look at Lansing is camped under it, but Guerrero does a good job to elude Lansing and avoid a nasty collision. Boy, he had his beat on that ball, but Lansing was camped under it and made an easy play.
2 down, Green at first, and Alex Gonzalez the batter. I guess we don't have to tell the rest of the Fassero story, do we?
Yeah, we do.
No, it's told. He told it himself.
Well, you know, that's a great observation by a guy that is basically an outfielder and a hitter. Felipe Alou has learned an awful lot about pitching, and he has a great touch for recognizing ability. And that's why he made the judgment with Hermanson. So many guys work through the minor leagues as closers, and they'll get 40 or 50 innings a year, and they never really develop. They don't understand how to pitch out of jams.
Hermanson to Gonzalez.
There has been some rumblings around the Blue Jays about Mike Timlin, the possibility of him going into the starting role. But after a good series down in Baltimore where he picked up 3 saves, they're going to put that on the shelf for the time being, at least right now.
0-2 the count on Gonzalez. And Gonzalez chased a pitch down and away, and that's all for the Blue Jays in the 4th inning. The Expos on a home run by Vladimir Guerrero in a 4-2 lead. Back at Sky Dome, and it is 4-2. Expos lead the Jays in the 5th. Closed captioning of this telecast is brought to you by GMC Sonoma. And you probably made it with that hat-brella. Rondell White 0 for 2. Excuse me. Chris Widger. Widger batting .273, lined out to short in his first at bat. Veselanic, then Lansing. Widger coming to the Expos from Seattle, Buck, in that Fassero trade.
Widger's kind of like the guy that is #1 in Seattle now, Dan Wilson, in that he was backed up behind a real good catcher. He was down in the minors with Seattle, and no prospects of the future there with Wilson playing so well. And now he's teamed up with a left-handed hitting catcher, Darren Fletcher, when he's activated. It's a pretty good tandem.
Widger seems to be getting better and better, of course, with playing time, and that's the secret with any young player. Widger down on strikes, and if the lack of playing time at Seattle at the major league level hurt him, he's certainly getting his opportunity now with the Expos. It's not a straight platoon situation with Widger and Fletcher. They're both getting plenty of playing time. Robert Person up against Mark Veselanic, who has grounded to shortstop and flied to left field. Robert Person has not lost any velocity since the Expos last saw him, and he was wearing the Met uniform.
Last July 4th at Montreal, he threw 7 innings of 4-hit ball, didn't walk a batter. So these guys are somewhat familiar with Person.
1 ball and 1 strike to Veselanic. The 1-1.
Dave, every time I see Mark Veselanic, obviously #4 comes to mind, Paul Molitor, but his approach is very similar to what I saw early on with Molitor in Milwaukee.
patterned himself after Paul Molitor, going up there and watching him play.
He walks around like him.
It's amazing how young players pick up not only the batting stance and perhaps some of the traits of the swing, but the mannerisms.
Well, they do it in the sandlots all the time, copying their heroes.
That's all for Gresolonic. 2 down in the 5th. Couple of strikeouts here for Robert Person.
This has been the key to Person's success, has been his fastball. He's gaining more and more confidence with his fastball, and when he gets that curveball over, his fastball gets a little bit quicker.
Buck, I don't know because I haven't talked to you and Dan about the subject, but I know in talking about it on the Expos telecasts on TSN and on our radio broadcasts, Person's pitch to Lansing a ball. There was a time just a few years ago I was not at all in favor of interleague play. 1994 changed my mind about a lot of things in baseball, including interleague play. And by the time teams resumed play in 1995, I was pretty much behind a lot of things to change in baseball, particularly if it's had to do with things that the fans wanted to see. And obviously the survey showed the fans wanted to see geographical competition. Here's a drive into right center, chased down by Otis Nixon. And that's all for the Expos in the 5th. They've gone in order. The Blue Jays will bat in the 5th. The Expos have a 4-2 lead at Sky Dome.
What a hit. Looks like nobody's going to touch this. What a catch. Come home to Packard Bell, the world's #1 home computer.
Taking a look at some of the teams in the 90s, Buck.
Well, everybody knows that the Atlanta Braves have been good. I think they've forgotten somewhat about the Chicago White Sox. But look at the Expos, 611 wins. They are not that far behind the Atlanta Braves. And Felipe Alou has done a tremendous job of turning over this team because he has not been able to hold on to those free agents. He has lost so many good players, but he continues to remain upbeat and challenges his young players to play the game properly.
Felipe was badgered throughout the spring again about the players that have been lost to the Expos. And Felipe said, rather than dwell on what we have lost, why not look at what we have coming back? And the Expos had some all-stars coming back. They had Mike Lansing and Mark Gresolonic, and they had Pedro Martinez. And Felipe Alou felt right from the start, as far as his position players were concerned, that he was going to field another competitive, good ball club for 1997. Pitching was something else. Carlos Garcia hits a ball in the air, foul and out of play down to the right side. Just to complete the thought, Buck, on interleague play, I think that I know now that you are in favor of it and have been. I think it's been wonderful. I think it's been a great success. And I think anybody who had any doubts about it should have been here yesterday if they weren't here.
Sellout crowd here, first time since '95.
Base hit to left for Garcia to open up the 5th. He's 2 for 2 against Hermanson.
Well, Cito Gaston going through his signs very quickly. Garcia has his second hit. He's going to want National League teams in here all year long. He has hit very well against the National League teams. He had an 0-2 fastball off Hermanson his first time up. It's something he hasn't seen a lot of in the American League, 0-2 fastballs.
Otis Nixon struck out in the first inning, sacrificed in the 3rd. Santangelo in at third base. Otis Nixon swings away, hits it foul out of play to the left.
Dave, you of course see National League baseball all the time, and it's my perception that the strike zone is wider in the National League. I think that makes pitchers much more aggressive. Have you noticed the difference in the strike zone in this short series?
In the short series, I have not, Buck, seen a difference, but I do agree with you that the strike zone in the National League is wider. Now, some of the pitching coaches will tell you that it's also not very deep.
Right.
That it's a wide strike zone, and a lot of pitches just above the knees that used to be National League strikes are no longer strikes. You've got to get the ball up a little higher. And some feel even that the pitch just above the belt that used to be a strike, between the letters and the belt, is no longer a strike, that you've got to be between the belt and the mid thighs. But it is wider. There's no question about that.
I think because it's wider, the National League pitchers are more anxious to throw fastballs, and they can throw that fastball 4 inches off the plate and get it called a strike. I think that's what hitters are talking about when they say that National League's a fastball league. I think the pitchers are more comfortable because they've got a wider strike zone to deal with. In the American League, they've really got to zero in on 17 inches, and you don't always want to come in that 17-inch area with a fastball.
0-2 the count on Nixon. Garcia takes his lead, and a ball to Otis Nixon. Nick Leyva going through some signs. Chris Widger giving the Charlie O'Brien quote-unquote helmet a try, the hockey style helmet. Off the end of the bat, a foul ball. If you go into most all major league clubhouses early enough in the afternoon, you will find a card game or two going on. And I walked through the Expos clubhouse early today. Chris Widger was in one of the card games wearing the hockey style mask. So he wanted to get used to it. He wanted to get used to having it on. First time I've ever seen a catcher break in a mask by wearing it during a card game.
Must be a rough game. He's probably playing with pitchers, so that's why I wanted them to be comfortable when they looked across the table.
Yeah, he's trying this for the first time in a game.
Everybody I talked to, well, there's a good play by Segui. Segui is one of the better fielding first basemen in all of baseball, and he digs one out from Hermanson. I remember a game last year when Segui broke his thumb when Uget Urbina was trying to pick off a base runner. He actually hit him on both thumbs in the same inning, and he fractured his bare hand thumb, his left hand.
Fouled back by Nixon. The count 1-2. Hermanson and Nixon having a battle. Merced is on deck. The Jays down by 2, batting here in the 5th.
You know, we were talking about Widger's mask. I have not talked to anybody that has tried it that doesn't really like it. It's comfortable. It's a better field of vision.
I talked to one who doesn't like it yet. Darren Fletcher. How about you?
Oh, I think I'd like it. I actually had one made years ago. The more traditional hockey mask. Not with the wire cage, but with the slits in the eyes, and that wasn't comfortable. That didn't work. There's Darren Fletcher, who is just about ready to come off the DL.
I'm talking with bullpen coach Pierre Arsenault, who uses that hockey style mask a lot of times, working the bullpen. 2-2 pitch, and now 3-2 to Otis Nixon. This now becomes a very big pitch for Dustin Hermanson, doesn't it, with a 2-run lead in this game.
Well, you got the heart of the order coming up next, and Garcia will be on the move at first base, trying to open up a hole on the infield.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Nixon. Runner going. Pitch is high for ball 4, and the Jays have 2 aboard and nobody out. Timeout here. Widger is going out. Segui coming over, and Santangelo over, all to talk to Dustin Hermanson after that walk to Otis Nixon. They've all got their work cut out for them now.
Well, now I'm sure they're going over the possibilities of a bunt play. That's Bobby Cuellar, the pitching coach. FP Santangelo, the third baseman, who is not normally a third baseman, so he wants to make sure that he's got the right defense as you look at the bullpen.
This is Dave Beers up in the Expos bullpen. And behind him, Mark Valdez looks like he's going to start to throw as well.
Now, the Expos don't have a left-hander down there, but their arms are so good. It's a situation where they feel pretty comfortable. Now Bobby Cuellar is out. Reminded Hermanson about his release point. Get that arm up a little higher. That ball's flattening out, and that's why it's staying up out of the strike zone. Bobby Cuellar is thrilled to be working alongside of Felipe Alou. He told me that he has learned so much in his 3 months this season. Has a tremendous regard for Alou's ability to pick up on things during the course of a game.
Bobby Cuellar leaving the scene, and Dustin Hermanson and the Expos defense will go to work with Orlando Merced coming up 1 out of 2 on the night. He singled in the 3rd inning. Merced batting .283. Remember the night a few years ago when he abandoned switch hitting. It happened to be in a game against the Expos. He sets, delivers, and a called strike on Merced. Expos had a left-hander, Brian Barnes, pitching at Pittsburgh. We all sort of did a slow double take with Merced going up batting left-handed against the Expos left-hander. And he began his left-hand hitting career. It was a '93 season in May of '93. Foul ball.
Now the Blue Jays not wanting to bunt in this situation. Merced has been a hot hitter. And Cito Gaston gave him the opportunity to swing away, hoping he'd hit one in the gap or at least get a base hit and advance the runners. There are the numbers for his last 10 games. Joe Carter, the on-deck hitter, has had a tough series here, and you don't want to advance the base runners, sacrifice Merced's bat.
0-2 pitch. Ball 1 and 2 strikes.
Dave, it took a while for Merced to really get comfortable over in the American League. He was giving the pitchers entirely too much credit, trying to figure out their every move, and he was in his head too much. And the last month or so, he's just kind of said, watch the ball and be yourself, and it's really worked for him.
Well, they have started to close the roof at Sky Dome. That would have to do with the forecast. Been a lot of fog today, particularly this morning.
It's hot, muggy around the Toronto area now, and they're probably getting some threatening weather coming in. This is an interesting time for the outfielders because as that roof closes, the wind will come over the top of that roof and create all kinds of swirls, so they're really going to have to concentrate on balls hit up in the air.
2-2 pitch, and the ball is popped up. Widger over near the Jays on deck circle had to reach back, just did manage to reach back far enough to make that play. The swirling winds you spoke of.
Well, he overran that ball, but then speared it just over his head and retired Orlando Merced. Watch Chris Widger. He gets to the wall and then has to reach back. It's a good play, boy. As a catcher, you don't want to get too far underneath that thing because you can really get handcuffed in a hurry.
So the roof closing at Sky Dome, 1 out, and Joe Carter the batter. Carter walked with 2 outs in the first inning and was aboard for the Carlos Delgado home run. Flied to right in the 3rd. 1 strike to Joe Carter. Carter had struck out 4 times yesterday, had 3 strikeouts in the Monday game. And probably the way you look at that is that he is due.
We have been waiting for one of those Joe Carter hot streaks all year long.
47, hits the ball in the air to right and deep, going back. Guerrero looking, it's gone, a home run. Joe Carter, a 3-run shot, and the Jays lead 5-4. Number 10 for Joe Carter.
Hermanson leaves that breaking ball too high. It's about belt high, and Carter takes it the other way and hits it into the Expos bullpen.
Number 25, Carlos.
Short, quick approach, and he hammered it.
That is going to be it for Dustin Hermanson. Felipe Alou out to take the ball from Hermanson. Joe Carter with his first home run since he hit one here against the Red Sox and Jeff Supan on the 24th of June.
Coming into pitching, the Expos, number 43, Dave Vera.
So the Blue Jays turn it around quickly with a Carter home run to the opposite field. Well, both clubs have hit a 3-run home run. All of the scoring now so far in this game coming via the long ball. 5-4. Blue Jays lead the Expos, and that's something considering the pitching we've seen in the first 2 games of this series.
Well, the hitters are frustrated, and you can bet they're anxious to break out. Felipe Alou didn't take too much time making the pitching change, and he has gone right to Dave Veers. It's a pretty good bullpen. It's lopsided. It's all right-handed, and Veers is coming in right now to deal with Ed Sprague with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
This pitching change is brought to you by Packard Bell. Come home to Packard Bell, the world's #1 home computer.
What a hit. Looks like nobody's going to touch this. What a catch. Come home to Packard Bell, the world's #1 home computer.
Right-hander Dave Veers has had a very good month of June. He has pitched in 10 ball games. This is the 10th game in a row, and he has really pitched effectively all year long. 228 the opponents are hitting against Veers. And he is on here trying to keep the Blue Jays at bay now. The Jays have a 1-run lead at 5-4. Veers is a 4-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, splitter, and a changeup. And he's had enough. He said, let's go.
They're still in the process, of course, of closing the roof as we get set to resume play now after this pitching change. The bottom of the 5th and a 3-run home run by Joe Carter. Number 10 for Joe. And a 5-4 Blue Jays lead. Here is Carlos Delgado, a 2-run shot in the first inning. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Blue Jays, 4 runs, 4 hits for the Expos. And Veers with the pitch. That ball is ripped over first in a fair ball that somehow got by Segui. And Delgado's on his way to second, so is the throw, and it's not in time. A double over first for Carlos Delgado.
The Expos don't play Delgado as dramatically to pull as the Red Sox did in the previous series here. That was a sinker that gets by David Segui just inside the first base bag. By the time Guerrero picks it up, Delgado hustles into second base with a sliding double. He's got 2 hits tonight, a long home run and a double in 3 trips.
Ed Sprague, the batter, has popped foul and hit a fly ball to right. 1 strike to Sprague. So Hermanson not able to get through the 5th, and the home run by Carter chases him. Hermanson running into some problems the last couple of times out. When he pitched last Friday at Florida, left after 2 innings with leg cramps, and tonight here's the line on Hermanson.
You can see just 4 1/3 innings. Gave up 6 hits in those 4 1/3. 5 earned runs, including a couple of home runs. Carter and Delgado took him deep. Boy, that might have been a cross-up. Widger had a real funny jab at that ball. Veers has a good sinker right here, but look at how Widger got crossed up, and I'm amazed that he hasn't gone out to talk to him. If they had problems with the signs, you want to get him straightened out before you call this pitch and wonder what in the world he's going to throw.
Ball is hit foul out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sprague up, and Sean Green is on deck. The Blue Jays fighting to salvage a game in this 3-game series with the Expos. Sprague, did he go? No.
Dave, the Blue Jays had so much momentum after sweeping that series in Baltimore. As we look at Sprague checking his swing. They beat the Orioles 4 straight at Camden Yards. They had Henkin and Clemens going against the Expos, and expectations were pretty high. And then they ran into Pedro Martinez and Jeff Juden.
2-2 pitch coming up to Sprague. In the air, right center. Rondell White is under this, along with the right fielder. They brushed together, and Rondell White, the center fielder, made the call, and that's the second time now that there was some miscommunication out there. Remember, it was Guerrero who almost ran over Mike Lansing.
Now, those are the types of things that'll really get under the skin of Felipe Alou. Just a matter of concentration and communications, because that could have been a very costly situation. Watch Rondell White actually bobble the ball after Guerrero slams into it. He's calling it all the way, and then in comes Guerrero. Inexperience. You got an experienced center fielder playing with an inexperienced right fielder.
Yeah, and you have Vladimir Guerrero, and I say this not in his defense, but in partial explanation, who in the minor leagues was always given the ball on a play like that with men on base because of his arm. So a center fielder in the minor leagues always yielded to Guerrero. Now in the major leagues, the big league outfielder makes the call. The center fielder makes a call. That's his ball. It was Rondell White's ball, but Guerrero was still there.
Well, he'll also learn that that's not a situation where a guy's going to tag and run, especially against him. His team is down by a run. He's got such a good arm. It's a medium fly ball.
Right. It's a 21-year-old rookie learning to play at the major league level, and part of that learning process has to do with on-field communications.
Well, he's playing for one of the best managers because he's patient. He played in the outfield, and he can explain all the situations to him.
Delgado is the runner with 2 outs. Sean Green the batter, 1 out of 2. And a strike call. 1-2 on Green from Veers.
Here's a guy that's in a similar situation to Guerrero, although Sean has a couple of more years of experience. He is still making some mistakes in the outfield.
Veers with a big strikeout, but the Blue Jays get a huge home run from Joe Carter to turn the scoreboard around, and the Jays lead 5-4. Buck, I've enjoyed it. All the best to you and to the Blue Jays and to Dan and everybody else all season long.
Great having you, Dave.
This Baseball Tonight update is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Toth. Welcome back to Baseball Tonight. You know, when you mix up the teams in interleague play, you're going to have mixed success. Case in point, Colorado and Texas. The Stones 3-5 in interleague play. The Rangers going the other way. They were 5-3, and they met head-on tonight. Pick it up. Bottom of 4, 2-1 Texas. Colorado and Texas. Should be some runs. But bases loaded. Yes, Damon Buford clears the deck. A 3-run deuce as it rolls to the wall. And it was 5-1 for the Rangers at that point as they really busted wide open. It is now in the 5th, still 5-1. More scores when we come back.
Top of the 6th inning at Skydome, where the roof continues to close with all kinds of storm warnings in the area. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez with you. Did you have fun?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's a little bit different. He's a very good broadcaster, of course.
Oh, of course.
Not unlike yourself.
Well, thank you, partner. Our game tomorrow, Yankees and Blue Jays. Pre-game show at 7. First pitch at 7:35. A huge series for both teams, I guess. The Yankees hold the wild card spot, and the Blue Jays can ill afford to go into the All-Star break with anything but all the momentum they can muster. David Wells and Woody Williams, the pitching matchup tomorrow night.
David Wells went out to his last start with Babe Ruth's hat on. He bought a $35,000 Babe Ruth baseball hat.
Well, that's not a luxury. That's a necessity.
And he pitched the first inning. Kind of looked like the Babe out there.
Henry Rodriguez leading off the 6th. He pitched the first inning with the hat on, did well. Then he took it off and got banged around the 2nd and the 3rd.
Yeah, he lasted just 4 innings. And Torrey said, you know, go wear it for 1 inning, but then you got to change it.
Rodriguez with a high fly ball down the left field line. Sprague into foul ground. Stays with it and makes the grab. 1 down. Rodriguez is 0 for 3 as we go back to Mike Toth at Baseball Tonight.
And guys, we go back to Cleveland. Big news, Sandy Alomar with that 27-game hit streak on the line. There you go. Here it comes. He hits a single into left. There you go. It's now 28 and counting. And among catchers, he trails only Benito Santiago, who had a 34-gamer a few years ago. There you go. Sandy Alomar getting the job done.
28 games. Halfway to Joe DiMaggio, who has the record of 56-game hitting streak. And one of the little-known facts about DiMaggio's hit streak, in game 57, he was robbed on a couple of plays by a third baseman named Ken Keltner. And then right after that, put together another 17-game hitting streak. DiMaggio will bounce away from a 74-game hitting streak.
Yeah, that is a remarkable stat that he got robbed. He had a couple of shots. Kenny Keltner played third base for the Indians. And then he went right back on another tear.
Santiago, the all-time record for catchers, a 34-game hitting streak. That came in his rookie season.
John Flaherty had 27 games last year for the Padres. All 3 of those catchers had ties with the Padres.
Segui goes around. The ball gets through Santiago to the backstop, and David Segui is across first without a throw.
That's that fast pitch that goes underneath Benito Santiago all the way back to the backstop. Segui strikes out but reaches first on the wild pitch.
Strikeout number 7 for Person. Segui is on base for the 3rd time tonight. He's homered, walked, and then gotten to first on the wild pitch after the strikeout. And there's ball 1 very high to the young DH Ryan McGuire. It was an interesting base hit for him the last time up, huh? Through the right side, bouncing off both Delgado and Garcia.
Yeah, it looked like it might be a 3-6-3 double play, but both infielders tipped it. We were talking a bit with Dave Van Horn about the prospects that this organization finds and develops. More so than any in my mind, they sign players, develop them, and when they hit the scenes, they're all pretty impressive, including Ryan McGuire.
The 1-1. Well, when Dave Dombrowski left for the Florida Marlins, the Marlins then raided the Expos of a lot of their scouting and development people. And that was and may still be the strength of the organization. But they took a lot of good people with them. And since then, the talent in the minors has dried up a little bit, but they've replaced it with the likes of a Lansing, who they find in an independent league. As McGuire goes down on strikes, number 8 for Person. A Rodriguez, who could not break into the Dodger outfield. A Jeff Juden with his 4th organization. But they also have great young players of their own, and the best of them all standing at the plate right now. This guy is something special.
Now, that's the first time I've had a chance to see him in person, and to me, there's a little bit of Andre Dawson in there.
Fly ball down the left field line. It's got some hook on it into foul ground and beyond the reach of Sprague. Joe Carter playing over in the gap a little bit, could not get into foul ground. Last time up, Vladimir Guerrero showing some opposite field power.
Now, that's the way he hits the ball. Dave Van Horn explaining that his home runs have gone to the right of center field, and that ball was away from him. It was a 2-0 fastball about knee high. The comparisons I see with Dawson, of course, are only in appearance at the plate. Fluid swing, upright stance. Stands about medium in the box. I'm not ready to put him in the same caliber with Andre Dawson.
Since he came off the DL a dozen games ago, Guerrero is hitting over .395 to raise his season average to .325. Pops this one up on the infield. Person off the back of the mound. Delgado will take over. And the inning is over. Person forced to record 4 outs. After the strikeout of the wild pitch doesn't hurt him. And the Blue Jays maintain their 1-run lead.
You remember Jay. He still doesn't say very much, especially when he's enjoying his McCain Super Fries. And he doesn't seem to care that they've only got 5% fat because they still taste great. McCain Super Fries, deep-fried flavor and crispness with only 5% fat. For the strong, silent type.
Stay tuned following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by TremClad. TremClad inhibits rust on metal surfaces to ensure long-lasting protection on all your projects.
Just like an old friend you can count on and trust. It's like smoking on the sunshine, right over the rust. Treat it to TremClad. Give it some TSC.
More people paint and protect more things with TremClad than with all other rust paints combined. Look for 25% bonus aerosol and 20% bonus brush on in gloss white and gloss black where available.
Bottom of the 6th inning, and the Blue Jays lead the Expos 5-4. Every run in this game coming in on home runs. Delgado and Carter for Toronto. Segui and Guerrero for Montreal. Dustin Hermanson, the Montreal starter, out of this game in the 5th. Dave Veers in his 2nd inning of work. Starts Benito Santiago with the ball 1. Oh for 2 tonight for Santiago. Lord Ash saying a couple of days ago the Blue Jays did not expect Santiago to reproduce his power numbers from a year ago. As he hits one off the end of the bat into left. Late start for Rodriguez and a base hit for Santiago. He'll take it.
For the 2nd straight time, Santiago lifts the ball to the outfield. Actually, it was his first at bat. He had a very similar pitch, a breaking ball down and away and fly it out to Rodriguez. This time he dumps it in front of Henry. Has his first hit in 3 trips.
And the Blue Jays have the leadoff man on. Alex Gonzalez 0 for 2. Even with the bag at 3rd is Santangelo. Gonzalez shows the bunt, fouls it off. He is 2nd in the American League in sacrifices behind only Tom Goodwin of the Kansas City Royals.
I love to see pitchers throw sliders on that first pitch in a bunt situation. More often than not, you'll get the hitter to do just what Gonzalez did. Tilt the bat, pop it up. This time, Veers threw a slider and got it popped out of play. The reason I like it is because you have to have a pitcher that's got confidence to throw that slider for a strike, but it also doesn't concede an automatic sacrifice bunt.
Santiago a short lead. Gonzalez squares again and took a close pitch just high to even up the count.
Now the Blue Jays have the option of taking the bunt off and starting Santiago if they want to play a little hit and run. Santangelo is really coming hard from his 3rd base position. See that little move Santangelo made? If it comes to me, I'm coming to you at 2nd. Remember, that is his least favorite position, 3rd base. He's moved all over the place, so these bunt situations are difficult for him as far as getting comfortable as to where he should play.
Is he taking guidance from middle infielders or the dugout at all?
The dugout and the middle infielders. Gretzelanek to his left will help him out.
Now the throw over. Gonzalez, a .243 hitter, 0 for 2 tonight. 7 home runs, 23 driven in. There goes Santiago, swing and a miss, throw down, nobody there. Lansing got there just in time to keep the ball from going into center field, and Santiago is credited with his first steal of the season.
Well, they threw a slider. The Blue Jays took the bunt off, and you see Santiago with a hit-and-run break. The throw is to the shortstop side. Santiago is thinking about sliding and then sees Lansing way off the mark. First stolen base of the season.
The pitch was a strike to Gonzalez, so it's 1-2. Now the ground ball to the right side. If Gonzalez can deliver, can get Santiago down to third. Rare to see the Expos make somewhat of a mental mistake like that. They usually play as sharp a brand of baseball as anybody in the majors.
Alou constantly talking about signs and coverage, and obviously there was a mistake there as the coverage was botched. He's not very happy about that. He knows his team can never afford to make mental mistakes.
Gonzalez obviously trying to go to right.
You know, with that stolen base for Santiago, the Expos continue to have a horrible time against the running game. Santiago's steal is the 101st steal of the season in 111 attempts. They have thrown out 10 base runners.
Wow. 9%. Veers a look back at Santiago. 5-4 Blue Jays in the 6th. And Gonzalez drives one to left. Well hit. Back goes Rodriguez. Jumps and it's off the wall. Santiago will score. Gonzalez with an RBI double. It is 6-4.
That pitch doesn't make any sense to me at all. 2 strikes on the batter. He's trying to hit the ball to the right side, and you throw him a changeup. All he's thinking about doing is waiting back and fighting the pitch off. You see, it's a changeup. He's on the front foot, but because his bat comes around, he drives it off the top of the wall and left. They really gave in to Gonzalez on that pitch and enabled him to hit a double and drive in a run.
Now a 2-run lead for the Blue Jays. Runner at second, nobody out, and here's Carlos Garcia, 2 for 2. He shows bunt. And Widger just couldn't get there. Garcia very frustrated with that attempt. Carlos Garcia's average right now, Buck, is at 215, its highest point of the entire season.
Watch how he jabs at that ball and takes the bat back. He's fortunate that Widger didn't come out of the chute and make a catch on that little foul pop. Carlos really comfortable facing these National League pitchers.
And he's upset again, though, as he can't get the bunt down. It's 0-2. He is a good bunter, has 6 sacrifices this year, has done this quite a bit over the course of his career with Pittsburgh, but could not get it down here.
Well, this is something that Cedar Gaston has seen his team do all year long. When they have a lead, they haven't been able to really capitalize and have a big inning. Now they've got a base runner at second base with nobody down, and Gaston's trying to get Garcia to move Gonzalez along.
Oh, 0-2 the count. There goes the runner. Garcia pulls the bat back. Out at third is Alex Gonzalez.
Now Widger threw a strike right there. I'm not sure I understand why Gonzalez is running right here. He didn't get a very good jump, and Widger throws a strike, and Santangelo puts the tag down. This will give you a real good shot of the throw, the tag, and the slide. He slapped his hand just as he got to the third base bag. Boy, there's a good opportunity to score a run down the tubes.
Pitch was just high, a ball to Garcia. Now he takes down and away 2-2. Now with an 0-2 count on Garcia, obviously he cannot be deliberately taking to give Gonzalez a chance to
He was going to bunt that ball and felt that it was high.
And is Gonzalez going on his own?
He had to be.
Never make the first or the third out at third base. Gonzalez thrown out at third for the first out of the inning. And here's Garcia with another base hit. He is 3 for 3 and 15 for his last 37 over that stretch. That's a better than 400 average.
Well, he would have had an RBI too if Gonzalez had stayed at second base, but he got tossed out at third.
So Garcia now up to 218, a 3-hit night. And here's Nixon. Walked and scored his last time up on the Carter home run. Good lead for Garcia as he's driven back. And Cito Gaston was on that caught stealing at third.
Playing the situation there, you're down in the bottom of the lineup. You got the number 9 hitting. You're at second base with no one out. If you're going to go, you got to just be 100% sure you can make it.
Can you ever be 100% sure?
Yeah, you can. Guys like Otis Nixon are. When they get a real good jump, they can tell. But he didn't get a very good jump at second at all. He just felt like he was going to surprise them more than anything.
And the Expos, as Buck mentioned, have had trouble all year long throwing out base runners. Nixon with a ground ball to short. Resurgence, Lansing, and safe at first is Nixon as the throw short hops Segui.
Now you got to be quick to get Otis Nixon. Lansing made kind of a funny throw from that pivot position at second base. He didn't get much onto the throw, kind of whipped it from the hip. Take a look at his throw. Garcia's bearing down on him, and he was kind of off balance when he threw it at short hop Segui. You see how he didn't get a step with that front foot. He threw it off balance and didn't get an awful lot on it.
Resurgence may have been better off trying to do that one himself. He was only a couple of steps away from the bag.
That may have been the reason that Lansing didn't have a good throw on it. He was surprised that Resurgence didn't come across the bag.
Two down for Merced.
Excuse me, Dan. You'll see Alex Gonzalez take that all the time. Step on the bag and fire to first.
Base hit from Merced back in the third. You can be pretty sure Nixon's going to try to get down to second here. Second in the league with 35 stolen bases, not going as Merced swings through it for strike one. Veers pretty much the Paul Quantrill of the Montreal Expos. He can soak up innings. Has done a very good job for them. Has picked up starters in middle relief. Has not worked as much in the late innings as Quantrill has. Another throw over.
Well, we mentioned the problems with the Expos catching base runners. Notice Nixon 35 for 43. Expos have just caught 11 in 112 attempts. I might be able to do that.
There he goes. Base hit into right for Merced. Nixon has yet to find the ball. Now he does. And gets down to third.
Resurgence did a pretty good job of decoying. There were 2 outs, and there's no reason to go on, but Resurgence, I think, decoyed Otis at second base, made him believe that it was a ground ball hit, and he stops. Watch him. He's trying to find the ball, and there's Resurgence right by the bag. But he's able to recover.
Now, the Blue Jays have just 1 run so far in this inning. They have 4 hits. Can Joe Carter deliver another big hit?
That 3-run home run came on a ball away from him. It's a slider that kind of stayed up about belt high, and he hammered it into the Expos bullpen.
We'll see Carter go the other way for base hits. You rarely see him go the other way with power as he takes just low, ball 1. The home run was his 10th. He's now got 50 RBIs on the season. The Blue Jays not yet at the halfway point of their season. And somehow, despite all the struggles, Joe Carter is on a pace for 100 RBIs. He has had a knack his entire career of driving in runs, and he's not had exceptional numbers with runners on a base at any point in his career. 1990 San Diego is 1 year there before coming to the Blue Jays. He had 232, drove in 115.
He's got that knack, as you mentioned. And it has been a battle for him all year long, but there you look up on the scoreboard, he's got 50 ribbies.
2-1 from Veers. He came on right after the Carter home run back in the 5th. Gave up a double to Delgado on his first pitch. Blue Jays out hitting the Expos 11-4. Carter with a fly ball right center. Here they come again. And again, there is poor communication in the outfield as White steps in front of Guerrero. 3 times tonight, all the plays involving Guerrero. It's been dicey for the Expos. Back here at Skydome, roof now closed. Blue Jays leading 6-4 heading to the 7th inning. A note on Benito Santiago's momentous stolen base. It is the first stolen base by a Blue Jay catcher since get a hold of yourself. Since Pat Borders back in 1994. Thought we were calling your number there for a second, big guy.
It's been a while. I can't really remember when I had one or when it was.
You must have had a couple in a Blue Jay uniform. Or maybe not. Sorry, I didn't mean to crush your hopes.
Blue Jay uniform.
Let's go to the guide.
I think I had a couple.
F.P. Santangelo is swing and a miss here to begin the Expos 7th. And the year by year, they don't give the steals. There's the
yeah, I had 15 in '84.
That might be, with everything you and I see this season, that might be my favorite moment of this year is back in the spring. We're doing a Blue Jay game down in Florida, and there was a rain delay or something, and we talked to Ed Sprague during the delay, and he had just stolen the base. Swing and a miss by Santangelo, and he told us that he went to Cito during the delay. He talked to us after the game and said, I think I can take him. How does he know?
He was feeling very frisky that day.
That's my favorite moment of the year.
I got a good read on him, Cito.
High pitch fouled back. Here we go, Buck. In your career with the Blue Jays, a mere 454 games, you racked up 2 steals in 7 attempts.
Yeah, but they were crucial times.
Oh, yeah. And you were robbed the other 5 times. Base hit into right for Santangelo. He's 1 for 3. This telecast is presented by authority of the Toronto Blue Jays Baseball Club, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted without the consent of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Santangelo got a high breaking ball and just drilled it into right field. Person kind of left that spinner sitting up out over the plate.
Batters Rondell White. Despite the fact the Blue Jays have out-hit the Expos 11-5, Rondell White represents the game's tying run, and he is a guy with the power to tie a game with 1 swing of the bat. He's 0 for 2 tonight, but has 10 home runs on the season. When you mentioned Guerrero reminded you a little bit of a young Andre Dawson, that was the label Rondell White came up with. As he drives one into center, Nixon playing very deep. We'll take it on a hop. The Blue Jays obviously worried about White because he represents the tying run, but it might have cost them an out right there.
Cito Gaston just hung up the phone, and they're going to get to work down in that Blue Jays bullpen. But you're right, Otis Nixon was way back. Look how long he has to run in here. He's just about 15 or 20 feet from the warning track when he takes off. Worried about extra bases, and right now they have the tying runs on board for Chris Widger.
Number 9 hitter is up, and it's Chris Widger. lined out sharply to short on a terrific diving catch by Alex Gonzalez, and then struck out. Blue Jays are in on the corners. Widger squares and gets the bunt down. Person only play to first, and a bit of a high throw brought down. Sacrifice moves the runners to second and third.
We have talked about Person before being a former position player. He was an outfielder when he signed, and he went barehanded after that. Widger does his job. Watch the effort by the pitcher. This is a good bunt by Chris Widger. Eddie Sprague retreats to third base, but Person barehands it. Didn't get a real good grip on it. You see he kind of threw a little rainbow over there at first base, but he retires the batter.
So now Grzelcyk is up. This guy's a tough out. 6-4 Blue Jays. Second and third, one out. Infield back. Swing and a miss on a pitch that dove out of the strike zone. Rondell White at second. FP Santangelo at third. Grzelcyk hitting .285. Round to the right side. Garcia into shallow right to make the play and get the out as a run comes in to score. It's 6-5.
Well, that's just how they drew it up in the baseball guide. Had a couple of runners on, hit the ball on the right side. Grzelcyk's not happy he didn't get a hit, but he drives home a run, and the Expos have cut the Jays' lead to 1. Garcia in shallow right field spins and gets the out at first, but Santangelo scores the 5th Expo run here.
White comes down to third on the play, and the batter is Mike Lansing. He's 0 for 3. Expos back within a run here in the 7th. What a difference this game has brought from the first two. Lansing pulls one into the left field corner. He's tied the game. In to score is White. Lansing to second. And the RBI double nuts it up at 6. And listen to the cheers from the Expo fans in attendance.
Lansing got a high breaking ball from Person. Boy, he jumped all over that first pitch slider all the way down into the corner. 25th double for Lansing. And Person has given up the lead here in the 7th.
And remains in the game. Paul Quantrill got up after the back-to-back base hits to begin the inning as Henry Rodriguez takes high. In Baltimore, when everything worked like clockwork, as Spoljaric has now joined Quantrill. The bullpen was brought in earlier rather than later. The Blue Jays have gone to the pen fewer than any other team in the American League this year. Cito Gaston will stay with his starters, feeling if they can get themselves through a tough situation, it'll help them and the team out in the long run. Person unable to do it tonight, and he has surrendered the lead as a result. He's also fallen behind Rodriguez 2-0.
No take for old Henry, 2-0. This kind of happened in a flash of bat of your eye, because Person gave up single to Santangelo, single to Rondell White, then the sacrifice, and boom, a double and an RBI ground out. It's a tie game.
Top of the 7th. Go ahead runs out at second. 3 balls and a strike to Rodriguez, with the cleanup hitter Segui, a switch hitter, on deck.
Both of these players know, both Rodriguez and Segui, obviously, from the days in the National League. Santiago spent his entire career in the National League. Person had some time with the Mets over the last 3 seasons. So they've got their signals straight. A 3-1 pitch to Rodriguez. You don't want to really give in to this guy. Don't give him one of those free swing pitches.
Base open. Fouled off, full count.
A breaking ball right on the outside corner. That was a good pitch.
This is just the third time this year in 11 starts that Person has given up more than 3 earned runs. 6 twice, 8 once. There goes the runner, and it's ball 4. Throw down. Out. Lansing thrown out at third to win the inning. And that'll get Person and the Blue Jays out of it without the Expos taking the lead. Mark Valdez becomes the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Expos. This pitching change is brought to you by Odor Readers. Now with a baking soda for double odor protection.
With 2 outs, the base runner, Mike Lansing, takes off for third base. It's ball 4 to the batter, Rodriguez, but Sprague puts the tag on Lansing at third base, and he's called out by Rocky Rowe. That ends the inning. We have seen both teams make the 3rd out at third base here tonight. Actually, the first out was Gonzalez. Lansing was the 3rd out to end the 7th. Billy Ballou has seen a couple of things tonight, I'm sure, that went down in the notebook.
Numbers on Valdez. He replaces Dave Veers, who went an inning and 2/3. Nothing but right-handers down in Felipe Alou's pen. And like Veers before him, the first batter Valdez will face is Carlos Delgado. He doubled on the first pitch he saw from Veers in the 5th. He homered off the starter Dustin Hermanson in the 1st. Oh, and 2. Coming into tonight, Carlos Delgado was just 5 for 35 in the cleanup spot. 2 for 3 tonight, though, helps that out a little bit. Back up to 269.
Have a pretty good report on Carlos Delgado. You can see Widger holding that glove high in the strike zone. He wanted Valdez to throw a fastball upstairs. See the defensive alignment for the Expos infield here. They are slightly to pull, not as dramatic as we saw from the Boston Red Sox when they were last year. Most teams will play Delgado about the way the Expos are. Deep in the outfield, fairly straight away, and slightly to pull on the infield.
Here's the 1-2 from Valdez, and it's strike 3 called.
That's the old backdoor slider that freezes Delgado. He gave up on it, and it comes down and catches the outside corner.
One down to the 7th, and the first out recorded by Valdez. A 6-6 tie. The Expos have come back. Here's Ed Sprague, 0 for 3. He yanks one into left, and the catch is made knee high by Rodriguez for the 2nd out of the inning as we send you back to Mike at Baseball Tonight.
Dan will take you to the Jake, Houston, and Cleveland. Jacobs Field, bottom of 5. Pitcher to pitcher. Oral Hershiser throwing. Mike Hampton up there hacking. How about it? 2-run triple. Help yourself. That's the ticket if you're a pitcher. It was 3-0 Houston. He later scored 4-0, 5-0, now 6-0. Astros looking good.
Here, Mike, 2 down. Sean Green is the batter. 7th inning tie game. Little grounder down to third. Santangelo with a sidearm flip to get him. Green is retired, and Valdez gets the Blue Jays in order. 7 complete. How long will they go? All tied up here tonight at Scotto. Each team has come back from deficits to ties. 6-6 heading to the 8th. Following the game, we'll select the player of the game for the Blue Jays on behalf of Samsung's Compact Theater XXL. Samsung brings the game closer to you. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of the Blue Jays player of the game and Samsung.
Left-hander Paul Spoljaric comes on. Takes over for Robert Person. Spoljaric had a hold in Baltimore. Actually pitched twice in the Baltimore series and pitched very well. He pitched a total of 2 innings over the 2 ball games, allowed just 2 hits. His ERA jumped up. He had a 3-game stretch where he gave up 7 earned runs in 7 1/3 innings. That came at the hands of Atlanta, Baltimore, and Boston. But for the most part, he's had a very good season pitching out of the bullpen.
He's in this game in a tie game in the top of the 8th to face David Segui, Ryan McGuire, and Vladimir Guerrero. Segui turns around to hit from the right side of the plate. Officially 1 for 2 with a home run, a walk, and then he struck out but reached first on a wild pitch. Segui is hitting over 300 sides of the plate. It's a ground ball to short. It got jammed a little bit. Alex Gonzalez in time, 1 down.
That's only the 2nd ball that Gonzalez has had to field here tonight. He got the first ground ball of the game back in the 1st inning, and then that ground ball.
Here's the DH, Ryan McGuire. This guy likes interleague play. He's getting a chance to get into the starting lineup. Does he go back to just being a young and productive bench player once the Expos leave town?
Well, there's been so much speculation that the Expos were going to deal David Segui, and if that happens, then McGuire becomes the first baseman. Expos dealing with a payroll in the neighborhood of $17 million. Last couple of years, they've lost the likes of Larry Walker, Marquise Grissom, Moises Salou.
Spoljaric ahead of ball and 2 strikes. And he got him. An awkward looking swing by McGuire. Spoljaric living on that outside corner.
He had a little bit of a run to that fastball down and away to Ryan McGuire. The young DH packs the lumber back to the bench. You can see he got overmatched there. When Spoljaric gets on top of that fastball and gets it down and away to left-handed hitters, it'll run away from them. This will be a good test for him.
Another big night for Vladimir Guerrero, hitting .322 on the season. A 3-run home run the other way in the 4th. He does not get cheated, and he's not shy up there, not taking a couple to get a feel for a pitcher he may not have faced before. The guy goes up there and gets his hacks.
Yeah, he's not going to sit back and try to analyze things. He's going to see it, swing at it. It doesn't always have to be in the strike zone either.
Well, whatever the formula is, it's worked so far. Look at him reach for that pitch that was way down around his shoe tops. It's got the distance, but it's foul.
Wow. Now I'm beginning to see why everybody's so excited about Vladimir Guerrero. Watch this swing. That was a curveball he was fooled on and hits it into the 2nd deck. Foul.
Got fooled and hit it about 350 feet.
Very quickly.
Ahead 0-2. How does this guy and little Corky Guerrero from Los Angeles, how do they come from the same family?
Yeah, they got the wrong guy with the cork.
Wilt Guerrero couldn't find a fence if his life depended on it. He hits home runs maybe 1 every couple of years. Ground ball left side. Big hop for Spray. Good speed, but just in time to get him. And Spoljaric gets the Expos in order.
This Baseball Tonight update is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business.
And welcome back to Baseball Tonight. You know, earlier tonight we were updating the Houston-Cleveland game, and I said it was being played at Jacobs Field in Cleveland. I was thinking about going there for the All-Star game next week because I will be there for TSN, but the game not at Jacobs Field. It's in Houston. How the heck can you get a dome mixed up with beautiful Jacobs Field? It's beyond me. How the heck can you stop this guy? Sandy Alomar earlier extending his hit streak to 28. He's back at work against Houston again. 2-run single. And the Indians now on the board. The Houston Astros building themselves a huge 6-0 edge, but with Sandy's 2-run single, it is now 6-2, playing in the 6th in Houston of all places.
TSN's got some Expo action for you as they take on one of their rivals in the National League East, the Atlanta Braves, Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern. Dave Van Horn and Gary Carter. David Segui, one of the home runs in this game for Montreal. Expos announcing today Segui has been suspended for 1 game and fined an undisclosed amount for charging the mound Saturday night in Florida. Segui has appealed, so the outcome remains in doubt, at least at this point.
One little note on that Montreal game on Saturday. It'll be Tom Glavine against Pedro Martinez, so that one will be a good one to tune in on.
Santiago pulls the grounder to short. Rolls a line of plates and makes the play. 1 down. Now, you think Bobby Cox is going to get the kind of heat for taking 7 Braves to the All-Star game like Cito Gaston did?
Probably. But you know what? Cox has had support from those players for so many years that he's going to take them just the way Cito Gaston did. When you have to pick between one guy and one of your team, you're going to take your team.
Was there any one omission that jumped out at you for either league?
First base in the American League is very difficult. Rafael Palmeiro this year is having a bad season. Tony Clark for the Tigers, I guess you could really make a strong argument for, but they took Justin Thompson, the young left-hander. How about Jason Dixon? You don't think the phone lines are humming to Chatham, New Brunswick? He is going to the All-Star game in his first full season with the Angels.
Just a little bit low to Gonzalez, 2-1. If you missed it off the top, Pedro Martinez is the only Expo going. Roger Clemens and Pat Henkin, a somewhat surprised Pat Henkin, are going to the All-Star game, and their appearances will dictate their outings in Boston after the All-Star break. Here comes Gresolano. Nice play to get Gonzalez 2 down. If there were no All-Star game, then Henkin's normal start would be Thursday night, first game back. Clemens' normal start would be Friday night, second game back. Nice play by Gresolano. Henkin may or may not pitch. There are 10 pitchers going to the All-Star game, and he knows he was probably one of the last included. Clemens is obviously going to pitch. Whether he starts or not, does he go 1 inning, 2 innings? Nobody knows. So the Blue Jays can't really set their rotation for Fenway until Henkin and Clemens get to the All-Star game.
And it's probably not that big a deal who pitches first or second. Just the way it sets up.
Line down to third, and Carlos Garcia, bidding for his 4th hit of the night, is denied by Santangelo. 8 complete, tie game. No shortage of power in this game. After a couple of 2-1 games, an offensive outburst tonight by both Blue Jays and Expos. 4 homers, Delgado and Carter for the Blue Jays. Guerrero and Segui for the Expos. Both starters are gone. This one is in the hands of the bullpens as the Blue Jays try to salvage 1 game of this 3-game set.
Well, Paul Spaljerek worked the perfect 8th inning, 1, 2, 3, and he turns things over now to Paul Quantrill. Quantrill and Spaljerek have been very effective all year long, and look at the ERA for Paul Quantrill. This will be his 34th appearance. He pitched here on Monday against the Expos, worked 2/3 of an inning.
Top of the 9th inning, he will face the bottom third of the Expo order, Santangelo, White, and Widger. Another switch hitter, Santangelo. 1 for 3 on the night, hitting .312 on the season. Ground ball to second, Garcia. 1 down. Just to finish up on Henkin and Clemens and their possible starting assignments in Boston, Cito Gaston said before the game today, ideally, he wants to split Henkin and Clemens. They follow. Clemens follows Henkin right now in the Blue Jay rotation. What could happen, again, it all depends on the All-Star game. If Henkin does not pitch and Clemens does, Henkin could go Thursday, Guzman would slide in Friday, and then Roger Clemens would be pushed back one day to start Saturday. There's a ground ball off the bat of White. Gonzalez got him. 2 down. Couple of ground ball outs for Quantrill.
Now the bullpen has retired 5 straight Expos here since Paul Jarrett came in relief of Robert Pearson. He started the 8th inning, and now Quantrill has the 2 outs to start the 9th.
Two down for Widger. As is almost always the case, a first pitch strike.
I think he could do that with his eyes closed. He's got a great delivery. He's well balanced. And he throws strike after strike. You know what happens to the hitters? They become aware that Paul throws so many strikes. They start to swing at those borderline pitches, and then eventually they're swinging at pitches 6-7 inches off the plate.
The good mechanics Quantrill has, is that the reason both for the good control and for the good health he has always enjoyed?
Yes, no question about it. He's perfectly balanced when he makes his pitch. You can see how he lands. Feet are even. He's not running off the mound. His body is under control. And by having that good delivery, his arm has been sound day in and day out.
Pitch is looped into right center field. He jammed him, but it'll drop for a base hit. A big turn by Widger, but he'll head back to first.
Shortstop number 4.
Now the outfield with 2 outs is way back. They don't want to give up an extra base hit, and you can see Widger gets jammed, and there's Merced and Nixon playing it on the high bounce.
Gives the Expos a chance here at least to get the go-ahead run across in the top of the 9th. Shortstop Mark Resolana 0 for 4. He drove in a run with a ground out his last time up. And a strike on the outside corner. Widger extending that lead a little bit. Quantrill to the plate, and a ground ball right side. Garcia on the short hop in time, and the inning is over. The Blue Jays, after Quantrill does his job, will come up in the bottom of the 9th, needing 1 to win. It'll be the top of the order. The outfield: Nixon, Merced, and Carter. Home has not been a very friendly place for the Toronto Blue Jays. Their home record is the worst in the American League by a pretty wide margin. The last time they won a series, almost 2 months ago. They will not win this series against the Expos. Montreal taking the first 2. Blue Jays just try to win this game, and then the Yankees come to town for 4 beginning tomorrow night. The game is theirs to win here in the bottom of the 9th if they can scratch across 1 run. Nixon, Merced, and Carter to face the Expos' Mark Valdez. Expos won 2-1 both Monday night and yesterday on Canada Day. Montreal's got a series upcoming with the Braves. Valdez bobbles, doesn't get him.
That wasn't a very good bunt. In fact, the pitcher is charged with an error. Valdez just got a little bit nonchalant. The ball kind of eats him up. And by the time he recovers, Nixon is across the bag at first. You can see he trapped it against his body, dropped it, but the throw is late. It'll be an error on the pitcher, and the Blue Jays have the winning run at first.
And the one guy out of everybody on their team they would like to have at first in Nixon. Here's Merced. Santangelo way inside the bag at third. Will it be a straight steal? Will it be a bunt? Will it be a hit and run?
We told you about the problems the Expos have had at throwing out base runners. They've caught just under 10%. And that's over 100 steals against them.
A couple of throws over to check on Nixon. Valdez also has to be concerned with Orlando Merced. Had a .352 month of June and has put up some of his best numbers in late innings, hitting .309 from the 7th inning on, .284 overall. He's got a couple of hits tonight. And of note, Buck, he has pulled them both to right field, which Orlando Merced has not done all that much of. He's used left center more than anything else.
Yeah, he got his stroke together by going to left center, and now that he's a more comfortable hitter, he is pulling the pitches on the inside part of the plate. This is the hitter the Blue Jays thought they got when they made the deal initially. A guy that hits line drives all over the park, not a lot of power, but he'll hit between 275 and 300.
Looking down to third for the sign from Coach Nick Leyva. The winning run is at first base with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth. A 1-0 count on Merced. Not going. Line to left. Rodriguez will make the grab. And Nixon is forced to retreat to first.
Merced hit this ball on the line. It's slicing away from Rodriguez, but he's able to make an easy play of it.
Now Carter picked up his first hit of the series back in the 5th inning, and it was a doozy, a 3-run home run to right. Facing Valdez here for the first time tonight. Nixon working on that lead. Steps back as Valdez steps off.
Otis has had an opportunity to see Valdez in his move. He's got that step off quick move. I gotta believe Otis is going to try to size him up and run right here.
Delgado's on deck. And a throw over. Short hop Segui.
The Expos appear to be very paranoid about the stolen base. They're making a lot of throws to first base. Segui does a good job of scooping that low throw in the dirt.
There goes Nixon. Carter taking all the way, and the throw never arrives. Swidger could not get it out of the glove cleanly. Nixon's got number 36, and the Blue Jays have the potential winning run at second.
Swidger in his rush to nail Otis Nixon. Watch the jump at first base. Swidger bobbles the ball, never got a handle on it, and it just pops out of his hand and settles right around the home plate area.
Now Carter base hit would almost certainly end the game in the Blue Jays' favor. It's a 1-0 count. There's a base open with Delgado on deck. Down and away. It'll get away from Widger. Otis Nixon moves to third.
Widger didn't do a very good job of getting after that ball. He kind of backhanded it. With the winning run at second base, you got to smother that thing. Watch how he goes after this ball. You see the backhand, it goes off his glove and goes all the way back to the wall. You got to get your body in front of that ball and make sure that you smother it. A 2-0 count. Now everybody is going to have to come in, including the outfielders. The outfielders are still too deep. Now they're going to put Carter on. 2-0 count. put him on, and they may put Delgado on as well.
Their choices are pitch to Delgado and try to set up a conventional double play, or more likely put Delgado on as well and go at Sprague, and then you've got a force at the plate.
The Expos don't have Omar Dahl, a left-hander. Dahl was an effective pitcher for them, both as a starter and reliever, but he's been sent out because he doesn't have a very good curveball now. So they have no left-hander down in the pen. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to put him on and load the bases and set up a force out at every base.
The percentage play being made by Felipe Alou, and Ed Sprague is going to come up with the bases loaded and 1 out. Carter with a home run, breaking out of his slump. Ed Sprague's 0 for 4 tonight. And he will come up not looking for a home run, although it's been a long time between home runs for Sprague. All Sprague will be looking for is something deep enough to get the run home. Brown doesn't like it at all.
Well, Ed Sprague had a conversation with Willie Upshaw, and you can bet that was a, what do you think? Slider? Yeah, think slider. Hit it into right center and get the sac fly.
Obviously, the place Sprague does not want to hit the baseball is right where Guerrero is.
Guerrero by far has the best arm in the outfield. Rondell White just average. Henry Rodriguez is maybe a little bit better than average. But they've got to play in shallow. That's what Alou says. Wait a minute, fellas, you're entirely too deep. You can't throw anybody out from where you are, and now even Guerrero with that cannon for an arm comes in very shallow. Doesn't do you any good to make a catch on a ball if you can't throw out the runner at the plate.
You saw the numbers on Sprague's recent struggles. He's hitting .244. 1 for his last 27 over 8 games. He says it's not the shoulder, it's not the elbow. He just has not been playing well. Does not want to use any kind of an injury as an excuse. Infield in. Outfield in. And a knee-high strike.
Maybe he did have that slider on his mind. Talking to Willie Upshaw. Got a fastball on the inner part of the plate.
One down in the bottom of the ninth. The bases are loaded in a tie game. 0-2. Durwood Merrill looked it over, thought about it, and then punched the right arm.
Well, Upshaw now would tell Eddie Sprague, battle him hard, Eddie. You got 2 fastballs on the inside part. Really got to battle. Fight it off, drive it through the infield, get it airborne.
Bases loaded, 1 out. 0-2 pitch. Did he go? He did. Durwood did not even need help down at first. 3 pitches and gone for Ed Sprague.
Valdez did a good job with his fastball and then drops a slider off the plate. Sprague couldn't check his swing. He goes around. That's the 2nd out of the inning.
And it will be left to Sean Green with the bases loaded and 2 outs now in the bottom of the ninth, all tied up at 6.
He's got to be geared up for a strike on the first pitch.
Took a strike on the first pitch.
Boy, same pattern that Valdez used to Ed Sprague.
Mark Valdez in a battle here. He got himself in trouble by failing to field a bunt cleanly, charged with an error to get it all started. Green with a drive, right center field. Into the gap goes White to make the catch, and the Blue Jays cannot win it in the bottom of the ninth. Had the fly ball come a hitter earlier, it would be over. But instead, a failure to capitalize gives the Expos new life.
At Wendy's, we know the best hamburgers are made fresh and served hot off the grill, like our hot and juicy $1.39 Junior Bacon Cheeseburger on our Super Value menu. It's made right when you order it, with fresh ground beef, 2 strips of bacon, processed cheese, plus fresh toppings, all for just $1.39. I can't imagine a better tasting, more affordable cheeseburger.
Wendy's.
Now, the Expos playing baseball recently the way the Blue Jays played it in April. A lot of close games and a lot of success. 16 and 11 in one-run games, although just 1 and 3 in extra innings. Blue Jays 15 and 15 in one-run games, 2 and 5 in extra innings. This was definitely the Blue Jays' game to win. They had their chances to move runners over, get them in, take advantage of some uncharacteristic Expo mistakes, could not do it, and now headed to the 10th at Skydome. Paul Quantrill remains on the mound for the Blue Jays, third pitcher of the night. He will face Mike Lansing, Henry Rodriguez, and David Segui, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Lansing slices one into right. That's a leadoff base hit. Second hit of the night for Lansing.
Now, anybody that pays attention will notice that Paul Quantrill throws a lot of strikes, so Mike Lansing stepped up there anxious to hit that first good pitch he saw, and he lined it into right field. Cino gassed him quickly out of the dugout. He's gone to Danny Plesac. Left-hander is going to come on here to deal with Henry Rodriguez. So Quantrill retires 3 in the 9th. Gives up a hit and then gives up a leadoff base hit here in the 10th, and his night is finished.
Plesac is going to come in to face the left-handed hitting Rodriguez, turn around the switch hitter Segui, and then another left-handed hitter in Ryan McGuire. This shapes up, as I guess all of the games do for the Blue Jays at this point of the season, is a very important game, coming off the momentum of the 4-game sweep at Baltimore, losing 2 one-run games to the Expos Monday night and again yesterday afternoon, with the Yankees around the corner, headed to Toronto for a 4-game series beginning tomorrow night. Even though it's just early July, it's a pivotal part of the schedule for the Blue Jays. They need some momentum. They need some wins heading into the All-Star break.
Well, they're going to see during the 4-game series David Wells, David Cone, Andy Pettit, and Ramiro Mendoza. Those are the 4 pitchers the Yankees will throw at Toronto to close out the first half of the season.
Plesac will have a little bit of knowledge about these National League hitters.
Yeah, he should have a very good comfort level here, and he's actually been throwing the ball very well. 23 innings, 27 hits. The last time out at Baltimore, he pitched an inning in the 3rd, gave up 2 hits. And came on Sunday. He worked in all 4 games in Baltimore. That's basically the way he excels. An opportunity to come in the game and face a couple of tough left-handed hitters and then turn it over to his bullpen mates. He's got Rodriguez to deal with here, number 3 hitter, and then there's a switch hitter, David Segui.
Some All-Star festivities for you on TSN Monday from Cleveland. The All-Star Gala, the All-Star Game itself on Tuesday, and then you'll be a part of the Home Run Derby on Monday night. Some of the big names are going to turn out for the contest.
Yeah, they're going to have the home run leaders in both the American and the National League, and then we're going to have a little wrinkle this year. We're going to have a rookie home run contest. So you can expect maybe the likes of Vladimir Guerrero, Nomar Garcia Parra, Julio Cruz Jr., and the winner of the rookie home run contest will go into the regular home run contest with the big boys
against the McGuires and the Griffeys
and the Barry Bonds. Bonds is the defending champion.
Here's Henry Rodriguez. Mike Lansing is at first in the top of the 10th, tied at 6. Rodriguez walked his last time, struck out twice in this game, also a fly ball. Plesac, from his years with the Pirates, familiar with Rodriguez and vice versa. Plesac's been very good against left-handed hitters this year. Rodriguez has struggled in his career against Plesac. Out of play, strike one.
You see what that pitch does right there. That's the fastball right in on his hands, and Plesac made a good pitch and got Rodriguez to foul it out. Now the breaking ball really becomes effective. But you see, Rodriguez tried to wait as long as he could to protect against that big sweeping breaking ball. And now Plesac has a couple of pitches that he could work with here.
Lansing a pretty good lead, not going as Rodriguez grounds it foul. It's 0-2. He's a threat to go, has 8 stolen bases on the season. The Expos try to sweep the Blue Jays and raise their major league best interleague mark to 8-1. They have had some fun at the expense of the Tigers, Orioles, and Blue Jays. Slide step from Plesac, and Santiago got enough of it to keep it near the plate.
Benny looking in the dugout for the throwovers and step offs and slide steps. Those signs are given from the dugout.
Santiago again couldn't come up with it cleanly. Plesac just missed. Another one of the differences between Cito Gaston and Felipe Alou. Alou will not ask his pitchers to use a slide step against the tough hitters on the other side. Cito Gaston here employing the slide step for Plesac against Rodriguez, who obviously qualifies as one of the tough hitters the Expos have. Reaching for it, Rodriguez sends a fly ball to shallow right. On comes Orlando Merced to make the grab. That's the first out here in the top of the 10th as Lansing retreats to first.
That ball hung up for a long time, and you can see Merced shaking his head in right field. That ball was hit off the end of the bat. Rodriguez had a big swing, and then when he hit it off the end of the bat, it was kind of a dying quail out in front of Merced. He had a long run, but he makes up the ground.
Plesac's now going to turn around the switch hitting first baseman David Segui. It was from the other side of the plate back in the second inning that Segui crushed one. 434 feet for his 7th home run of the season. Lansing held by Delgado at first. Not going, and it's a strike to Segui. The lead has gone back and forth tonight. The Blue Jays led 2-0. Expos led 4-2. Blue Jays led 6-4, and then Montreal tied it again. Now in the 10th. The 0-1. Missed, and it's a ball and a strike.
Plesac's got pretty good stuff on his fastball tonight. That one got up there in a hurry. 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Of course, these hitters that are familiar with him, like Segui, are always aware that he's got that breaking ball that comes down and into the right-handed hitters. Tough pitch to lay off of.
Ground ball. Gonzalez on to second for one. No chance to complete the double play. Segui aboard on a fielder's choice. 2 down in the inning.
Now Garcia really shouldn't have chanced to throw right there. There's no reason to throw that ball. Alex Gonzalez had such a long run to get to this ball in the hole at shortstop. All they can hope to do is get the force at second. If that ball bounces away from Delgado, you've got the go-ahead run in scoring position at second.
Instead, a runner at first, 2 down. Pinch hitter has been announced for the Expos, Sherman Abando. Coming up in Ryan McGuire's spot. As you can see, he has not been used very much at all this season. Cito Gaston has made his way to the mound. And Mike Timlin is going to enter this game.
Obando hit a home run in the Baltimore series off Jimmy Key. That was the only run of the game in a 1-0 win. So I'm sure that Gaston had that on his mind, and Plesac gets congratulated for his efforts. Faced 2 batters, got 2 outs.
And the significance of this game for the Blue Jays obvious in the fact that Cito Gaston has already used Spoljaric, Quantrill, Plesac, and Timlin, his 4 veteran relievers. Out there in the bullpen right now, Luis Andujar and Kelvin Escobar without a lot of major league experience between them.
Here's Timlin with a 1-0 record. 34 innings, 33 hits. He's got 27 strikeouts in. That's what the Blue Jays would like to see right now.
Plesac talking it over with Santiago. There's a runner at first, 2 down in the top of the 10th. We'll come back to Skydome right after this. Felipe Alou has countered Cito Gaston's move. Instead of it being Dan Plesac, Sherman Obando, it turns into Mike Timlin against Joe Orsulak, who you just saw warming up. And I'm not sure that that's an advantageous move for the Blue Jays to get Orsulak into this game.
Well, I don't think Orsulak has the power of Obando, and obviously that was something that Cito Gaston would consider. Obando just 2 for 21 as a pinch hitter. And Plesac, although he's much more dominant against left-handers, can tie up some big swinging right-handers like Obando. But it's Timlin to Orsulak.
Orsulak is familiar to Timlin and the other way around. Orsulak spent some time with Baltimore in the American League. He's 2 for 8 as a pinch hitter this season. Runner at first is Segui, 2 down in the 10th, and Orsulak hits a fly ball to right. Merced steady as she goes in front of the track to make the catch. And the inning is over. As Timlin gets out of it on 1 pitch, the Blue Jays will come up with another chance to win it in the bottom of the 10th. Steve Stricker is going to try and defend his title at the Motorola Western Open at the Cog Hill Golf Club in Lamont, Illinois. Tiger Woods among those who are going to be trying to knock him off. Let's go back to the 9th. The Blue Jays' last chance to win it.
Eddie Sprague strikes out with the bases loaded against Mark Valdez, and then Sean Green lifts a fly ball to the outfield. The Blue Jays had a chance, bases loaded in 1 out, and they couldn't cash in that winning run.
Now in the bottom of the 10th, Mark Valdez is out there for his 4th inning of work. Lots of home runs in this game, 2 aside. Twice as much scoring in this game as there was in the first 2 combined. Santiago is going to lead it off. He's 1 for 4 tonight as he is jammed on a check swing and fouls it off. A ball and a strike. And a base hit, stole a base, the first by a Blue Jay catcher in 3 years, and then scored a run back in the 6th. On the infield, the Expo first and third basemen are guarding the lines, and they're deep, and that's why Santiago said maybe I can bunt my way aboard.
That gives you a pretty good indicator of how Benito Santiago has slipped since last year. He had 30 home runs last year. You're in extra innings, and he's thinking about putting the bunt down. 1 swing of the bat could possibly win it. It's been a struggle for him. He has only 3 home runs all year long, but he saw an opportunity to maybe get something started. I like his chances better swinging.
Held up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gonzalez, Garcia due up behind Santiago. Good 3 innings for Valdez other than the air. Then he intentionally walked a couple to load the bases. And the Blue Jays have not picked up a hit off him through 3 innings of work. An unsung Expo bullpen. 3-2. And a ground ball down to third. Santangelo, 1 down.
FP Santangelo's looked pretty comfortable at third base tonight. Shane Andrews is their regular third baseman, and he's been on the DL since May.
Santiago makes way for Alex Gonzalez. He doubled in a run back in the 6th inning.
Now you got to be thinking, okay, he used that first pitch fastball inside part of the plate. Take a chance. Look for it. He got it, but fouled it off. That's what Valdez used to Sprague. That's what he used to Sean Green. He got ahead inside and then finished off the at-bat away with a slider to Sprague.
The 0-1 to Gonzalez. Jammed him, fouled it off. 0-2. And a bare-handed grab above the first base dugout. Congratulations all the way around. One more look. Whoa. Ahead 0-2. There's another screamer into the seats down the right field line. One down, nobody on, bottom of the 10th. And a base hit to center for Gonzalez.
It's the first hit off Valdez. He had all kinds of trouble in the 9th inning if the base was loaded, but it was an error that he himself committed, and 2 intentional walks that loaded the bases.
So now speed at first and a hot bat at the plate. Carlos Garcia, a 3-hit night. And the 4th time up, hit the ball sharply down to third. Santangelo made the grab as Garcia lined out.
Same pattern this time. First pitch inside.
It has held true so far.
He's sliding away. Widgers set up on the outside part of the plate, and then Valdez went to first. That's Big Lee Smith, the all-time career saves leader. Obviously, this is not a save situation, but Valdez may have pitched his way to the end of his night. There's another sinker ball inside.
1-0 on Garcia. Gonzalez has already been thrown out trying to steal in this game. He tried to steal third with nobody out of back in the 6th. The Expos, as Buck has mentioned, have had a terrible time throwing out runners. Better than 10% success rate. Well, the Blue Jays forced the issue here.
Well, you got to be quick to pick up on that.
Expos have their signs. Gonzalez and Garcia have theirs. Not going. And it's fouled off, a ball and a strike.
Valdez has pitched himself a pretty good effort here tonight. Came in the 7th inning, retired the first 6 batters he faced, and then he himself allowed the first base runner to reach in the 9th when he booted a bunt off the bat of Otis Nixon.
Expo pitchers have been very concerned with the Blue Jay runners all night long, probably stemming from their catcher's inability to throw them out. Gonzalez having to dive back in as Valdez fired one over. One and one the count. Not a big lead by Gonzalez. Not going as Garcia chops it foul. 1-2. After running very aggressively for most of the last couple of weeks, Blue Jays not trying to run here in the 10th. Gonzalez is one of the many Blue Jays with the green light unless he gets a stop sign. from the dugout. Garcia loops one to right. Guerrero almost came in too far on that ball. He makes the grab. 2 down. Gonzalez back to the bag.
Center fielder number 2.
Guerrero plays what I'll classify as an exciting right field. Right there, he came in a couple of big steps and had to reach up for it. That ball almost got over his head. He has banged into Rondell White on a couple of occasions here tonight. Almost ran over Mike Lansing at second. It's interesting. It's an exciting brand of ball.
Here's Nixon with 2 down, and Gonzalez still at first. 6-6, bottom of the 10th. Valdez trying to complete his 4th shutout inning. And now you've got to think there will be something going on. Nixon as unlikely as any hitter in the Blue Jay order to come up with an extra base hit. If Gonzalez can get himself to second, then a base hit can win it. Otherwise, the Blue Jays probably need 2 hits to win it. And the chances of getting a stolen base and a hit are better than the chances of getting 2 hits in a row.
Otis is looking around the infield to see where the holes are. They're always talking about the situation and what they may do to keep the opponent from scoring. Another high fastball.
2-0. Do you think this is Gonzalez deciding on his own not to run after having been thrown out in a key situation?
Well, you'll remember Cito Gaston had a long conversation with him, and he may have revoked his green light.
3-0. But it may not matter if Valdez walks Nixon, but we're talking apples and oranges, right? Runner at second, nobody out earlier in this kind of situation here.
Yeah, he made a bad mistake when he did that. Bobby Cuellar is the pitching coach. Felipe Alou, of course, the manager.
3 balls, no strikes on Nixon. And a strike. Nixon 0 for 3 on the night, hitting .267. Gonzalez 13 for 17 as a base stealer this year. Valdez trying to pick up the 3rd and final out here in the 10th. 3-2. Now Gonzalez will be running, but only because of the situation.
That ball was up and away from Otis, and he just slapped at it. Boy, the left fielder, Henry Rodriguez, is way over toward the left field line. Felipe Alou has moved his defense around all night long. And they're trying to guard against Otis slapping that ball down the line. There's a good look at the left fielder.
Strike 3 called. Again, Derwin Merrill with some hesitation before ringing up the batter to the 11th. Derwin Merrill ringing up Otis Nixon to end the bottom of the 10th inning. Valdez had fallen behind a 3-0, fought it back to 3-2, then this.
A little hesitation from the home plate umpire, Merrill. That ball ran back over the plate. Otis Nixon wasn't so sure that ball was high enough. But it's academic now as he's standing in center field, and Mike Tinlin gets ready for the top of the 11th.
3 very close games, to say the least, between the Expos and the Blue Jays here in this interleague series. 2-1. Montreal winning each of the first 2 games. 6-6 here heading to the 11th. Mike Timlin is the 5th pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays. Came on and got pinch hitter Joe Orsulak on a deep fly ball to end the 10th. Will face Guerrero, Santangelo, and White here in the 11th.
You know, we've been talking an awful lot about interleague play and how people like it and how it's a new look. Just looking up on the scoreboard, I think it's kind of interesting that the Anaheim Angels are playing in Disneyland against the Dodgers. Jason Dixon's starting, a Canadian, against Chan-Ho Park, a Korean. That's really interleague play.
Yeah, that is. Leadoff man in the 11th, right fielder Vladimir Guerrero. Up there hacking as always. Ground ball to short. And one down. Let's go to baseball tonight.
They are late at the Sky Dome, but early in San Diego. Seattle in town first inning. They came to see Junior hit one out. Not this time, but a slicing double is more than enough to spring Joey Cora loose. Griffey's league leading 82nd RBI, 1-0 for the Seattle Mariners.
You'd expect Griffey to have a ton of RBIs, although that's an extraordinary number. And looking at all the all-star stats, Tony Gwynn has 69 RBIs heading to the break. The guy who used to be known as just slap a base hit the other way is on a pace for about 135 RBIs this year.
There are some big years out there. Big years. Galarraga, Walker, Castilla, all in Colorado. Frank Thomas and Albert Bell are just amazing what they've done. Albert Bell has 66 ribbies. I don't think he got any in April. He was awful in April.
And he's headed back to Cleveland for the All-Star game. They'll have the welcome mat out for him.
To give you an idea how extraordinary Gwynn's season is, he had 50 ribbies all year last year.
Once and for all, is he the best hitter in baseball? He just hit her. Or would you still take
once and for all?
Well, you always hear Griffey Bonds, Griffey Bonds. Somehow Tony Gwynn can hit .399 with 69 RBIs in a pretty good pitcher's park and get overlooked. 3-1 on Santangelo.
Yeah, that's a great point because he has won batting title after batting title. It seems as though he can get a hit anytime he wants to. That's the way Rod Carew was.
Ball 4. A 1-out walk issued by Timlin to Santangelo, a guy with a bit of speed. Tough series against the Expos. Here's Rondell White. Dropped down to the number 8 spot. Had a hamstring injury, struggled with the bat coming back a little bit, but 270, 10 homers. That's not a bad number 8 hitter. And would not be hitting 8 in a National League game. Would be up in the 7 spot with the DH included, and the pitcher out drops to the 8 spot here at the Sky Dome. Ground ball left side to Gonzalez. There's one. Garcia. No.
Boy, that was close at first. This time, Carlos Garcia made a strong throw right on the money, and it was bang, bang at first. When Rondell White came across the bag, he grabbed the back of his left hamstring. Look at the effort by the middle infielders. Gonzalez to Garcia. Boy, it looked like they may have had him at first. Another look at it here. Well, I don't know. White got there at the same time the baseball did.
And that left hamstring is the same one that cost White a week of action back in the middle of June. So he replaces Santangelo at first. Now 2 down for the catcher, Chris Widger. Swung over the top of it for strike 1. Expos making do without Darren Fletcher on the DL, Shane Andrews on the DL. Guerrero's been on twice. Batted foul 0-2. White has missed some time. Santangelo's not been completely healthy. Segui was hurt. Real Cormier is out for the season. Elbow surgery. Still, they trudge on and are thickly in the wild card race in the National League. Big series with Atlanta beginning tomorrow for Montreal. Big series for Toronto beginning with the Yankees tomorrow. 0-2 the count. And he got him. Timlin gets out of it. Blue Jays will come up with another chance to win in the bottom of the 11th. Merced, Carter, and Delgado due up.
Labatt Blue Jays baseball on TSN. Brought to you by Labatt Blue. It's your call. By Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Bottom of the 11th. Those who have stayed still having an awfully good time here as the Expos and the Blue Jays just keep on going. All tied up at 6. Fourth pitcher of the night for the Montreal Expos. Baseball's all-time save leader, Lee Arthur Smith.
Lee Smith comes in here in this 6-6 ball game, bottom of the 11th. He pitched in 5 games in the month of June, worked just 4 innings. He has been relegated to kind of a mop-up, set-up kind of guy. He has a save. Actually, he's got 5 saves. Look at the opponent's batting average. He's not the same Lee Smith that is the all-time career save leader. He's appeared in over 1,000 games. That's incredible, isn't it?
He has saved games for 100 different pitchers.
Wow.
He's going to face one of the tougher parts of the Blue Jay order here in the 11th, Merced, Carter, and Delgado. Merced tonight 2 for 5, hitting .283 on the season. And as always in a game like this, Expos guarding the lines. With a guy like Smith being around as long as he has and pitching for as many different teams as he has, if you're in the majors, you have probably faced Lee Smith. And Merced can lay claim to that. Off speed, but he missed. 1-1. In his career, Merced is 2 for 7 with a home run off Lee Smith. The 1-1. Line to center. Right at Rondell White. 1 down.
Well, Merced continues to swing the bat well. Last time he lined the left. This time up he lines to center.
That'll bring up Joe Carter. And even after the home run tonight, there has not been a smile from Joe Carter. Suffering through a couple of tough days. There's a little bit of a smirk. 0 for 8, 7 strikeouts in the first 2 games of this series. He is 1 for 3 with a home run and a couple of walks tonight. A smile probably out in the direction of Lee Smith. These two would have known one another for years and years. Maybe was Smith with the Cubs when Carter was breaking in as a rookie?
Yeah, I believe so. So they have had a long history. I think Joe Carter kind of casually tipped his cap to Lee Smith.
1 for 8 in his career. Base hit into left for Carter. His second hit of the night and the 4th time he's been on a base. But most importantly for the Blue Jays, they've got a base runner here with 1 out in the 11th.
Lee Smith doesn't have that same velocity or command that he had in the prime of his career. Like everybody, he's lost something, but Carter got a hold of that fastball and ripped it through the vacated hole on the left side.
That'll get up Delgado. He was intentionally walked his last time up as the Expos loaded the bases. Nixon was at third with 1 out. Then they walked Carter and Delgado, and then got Sprague and Green to get out of it in the 9th. That was the best chance either team has had to walk away with a win. Also tonight, Delgado has homered and doubled in his 4 official trips to the plate. When Lee Smith began pitching professionally, Carlos Delgado was 3. Ground ball to second. Lansing flips to Grzelcyk. Double play. Inning over. To the 12th at Skydome as Lee Smith does the job. Got a long one tonight, guys. You're right. Closing in on 3.5 hours, moving to the 12th inning. Blue Jays had a 13-inning game out in Anaheim a little bit earlier this season. Tied at 6. Expos looking for the sweep. Blue Jays just looking to win 1. Good thing it's a short flight for the Montrealers as they head home to take on the Atlanta Braves. Blue Jays wait right here. Yankees coming to town. Then it's the All-Star break. Clemens and Henkin will represent the Blue Jays. Pedro Martinez will represent the Expos in Cleveland on Tuesday.
Well, the Expos against Atlanta are going to get Smoltz, rookie Chris Brock, Tom Glavine, and Denny Nagel. So they've got their hands full in the final 4-game series before their All-Star break.
A strike to Mark Grzelcyk to begin the 12th. Montreal shortstop is 0 for 5 tonight. Drove in a run on a ground ball. They're the 2 All-Star participants, Clemens and Henkin, for the Blue Jays. Clemens has a chance to start the game. And I would think that if justice were to be served, there would be a Blue Jay starter for the American League and an Expo starter for the National League. It should be Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens, you would think.
Well, that'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? 2 players from the Canadian team starting the mid-season classic.
Oh, 2. And ball 1 to Grzelcyk. For Henkin, it is his 3rd trip to the All-Star game. For Roger Clemens, it is his 6th time. He started 1. That was his first All-Star game in Houston, right at home. Went 3 innings and got the win, and he says, you know what, I'll never be able to top that. But the thing he's most excited about right now is he's taking his 2 older sons with him, and they're old enough to understand. This is Ken Griffey Jr. This is Barry Bonds, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a neat time. The All-Star game has become quite an event. We have a celebrity softball game. We have a workout day on Monday, then the home run contest. The game is on Tuesday. There's a big gala on Monday night. And some of these players are involved in an unusual manner. Jeff Juden is one.
Santiago fires down to first to complete the strikeout on Grzelcyk. And TSN's going to bring you everything to do with the All-Star game. Buck will be there as part of the Home Run Derby, the game itself on Tuesday. I think Jack McDowell is supposed to play in that band along with Jeff Juden.
Jack McDowell, Mark Langston, Mike Bielecki of the Atlanta Braves, and Jeff Juden are jamming and playing the guitar. And Juden plays rock guitar, jazz guitar, and classical guitar. They could get Bernie Williams involved in that thing, too.
At 6'8", Juden plays anything he wants to.
Yes. Sounds great, Jeff.
Yeah. Mike Lansing sends one into shallow right. Merced is in to make the catch. 2 down. Well, we talked about the All-Star experience of Clemens and Henkin. We shouldn't shortchange the Montreal side of the field. Jeff Juden could very well be going there as a pitcher, not just as a musician. He is not, despite a great season. Pedro Martinez making his first trip to the All-Star game. And has the Major League's best ERA. Will he be rewarded with the start? Two down for Henry Rodriguez. 0 for 4 with a walk. Hitting .272, leading home run hitter on the Expos with 16. Takes up and away 1-1. Timlin throwing well tonight.
Remember the conversation you and I had with Henry Rodriguez at Montreal?
And Pedro's interfering with the production of a television broadcast here.
He's checking his concentration. The conversation I was talking about with Rodriguez, Henry Rodriguez has two distinct bats. One for left-handed pitchers and one for right-handed pitchers. And I asked him what the difference was. He said nothing. But he's got them all marked. Left-handed pitchers' bats have an L on them.
Sky high down the left field line. Carter's got the best angle on it and the only play on it. And he makes it just in fair territory. Another good inning for Mike Timlin. And another chance for the Blue Jays to win it, despite the distractions being provided by Pedro Martinez. Heading to the bottom of the 12th. And Mike, let's remind you that the Yankees are coming to Toronto. That means that everybody on our crew will be able to work without the distractions being provided by Pedro Martinez. Yankees in for a 4-gamer. Tickets available for all 4. 1-888-OK-GO-J. Here are the first couple of hitters for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 12th. Ed Sprague to lead it off. Shawn Green to up second. Benito Santiago third. Lee Smith back out there for his second inning of work. Interleague play will not go quietly here between these two teams. A couple of games that, but for botched plays in the Blue Jay outfield, could have, maybe would have gone to extra innings. Monday night and again yesterday afternoon. Making up for it here tonight. And a tough night at the plate for Sprague, including a strikeout last time up in the 9th with the bases loaded and only 1 out. Blue Jays hopeful the Carter home run and base hit will get him on track here tonight. Now they'll turn their attention to Sprague. Outside, a 1-1.
See how Smith is staying away from Ed. When Sprague is swinging the bat well, he can drive that ball toward right center. But when he is scuffling, as he is right now, he has a tendency to pull off that pitch.
Widger slides outside. Sprague with a ground ball to second. Lansing throws him out. That's the first out of the Blue Jay 12. Having a peek up at the Jumbotron to look at the at-bat again. Sprague leaves, and here's Green, a base hit in 5 trips. Green 0 for 3 career against Smith. Slashes it foul, strike 1. The last thing that either Felipe Alou or Cito Gaston want to do is exhaust their bullpen heading into big series against the Braves and the Yankees. But every game's important for both of these teams.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do about it. You got a game in hand right here, and you might as well do whatever you can to win in. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. As we mentioned, the Lou's team, the Expos, is going to be facing John Smoltz tomorrow at the Big O in Montreal. Cito Gaston will be dealing with David Wells and Joe Torre in the Yankees. And
Green is jammed, and he loops one back into shallow left field. Resurgence goes back to get it 2 down.
Boy, there's a lot of turmoil surrounding the Yankees involving Hideki Arabu and the second base situation with Mariano Duncan. Things are so bad in New York. George Steinbrenner was out in the parking lot the other day sorting out the parking lot.
Guarding it to make sure nobody was in there who shouldn't be there.
Yeah. His car got blocked in on Monday night with the Braves there, and he said, I'll handle this myself.
There's no problem too big or too small for old George. 2 down for Benito Santiago. 1 for 5. And a strike. Lee Smith in his second inning of work, baseball's all-time saves leader with 478. 5 this year as an Expo. Down and away, a ball and a strike. Started it out with big-time years with the Cubs. Then went to Boston, St. Louis, the Yankees, Baltimore, California, Cincinnati, and now Montreal. Led his league in saves 4 times. But only once was with the Cubs. His big save years came with the Cardinals in the second half of his career. Santiago, a drive to center and pretty deep, but not deep enough. Rondell White. Inning over. Inning number 13 is on the way. Back here at Scott, a look at the AL All-Star starters dominated by Orioles and Mariners, 3 of each. Ken Griffey Jr. with the most votes. Roberto Alomar getting voted back in despite all the problems that he has had. Edgar Martinez is the DH. David Justice hopeful he'll be able to come off the DL and to be healthy enough to play in front of the hometown fans of the Jays. Over in the National League, you knew Mike Piazza was going. The 2 talented Astros. Barry Larkin's not going to play. Has a bad calf. Larry Walker, one of 2 Canadians headed to the All-Star game.
Boy, Larry Walker has had some season, and he is going to start in the All-Star game. Barry Larkin is hurt, so Jeff Blauser, the shortstop of the Atlanta Braves, will probably get the starting nod. Larry Walker, 25 home runs, 402 average, 68 RBIs, and he scored 79 runs.
How about Barry Bonds not getting voted in as a National League starter? Gwynn, Lofton, and Walker all voted ahead of him in the outfield.
Yeah, Bonds is a guy that got off to a slow start. Now all of a sudden he's heated up right before the All-Star break, and he's got 19 home runs.
Back here at Skydome, this game is in the 13th inning, tied at 6. Mike Timlin has been out there for a while for the Blue Jays. He has already worked 2 1/3 shutout innings, has allowed just a walk, has struck out a couple. Faces the cleanup hitter David Segui, who rips one into the right center field gap for extra bases. Off the wall on the fly. And the go-ahead run is at second base with nobody out for the Expos, and Segui and the Expo fans here in the ballpark are pretty pumped.
David Segui has worn out the Blue Jays in this series. That's his second hit of the night, a ringing double off the top of the fence in right center. This ball is about 4 feet from going out of the ballpark. He starts things off for the Expos here in the 13th.
First pitch of the inning. Timlin surrenders a double. And now we'll face Joe Orsulak, who came on as a pinch hitter back in the 10th inning and flied out. He is a good pull hitter, can turn on a pitch, and is a pretty good candidate to at least advance Segui to third. Popped back of the plate. Santiago is yet to find it, but it doesn't matter. It's back in the seats, out of play.
You see Orsulak with that exaggerated pull swing, trying to get the ball on the ground on the right side. He's lucky that ball drifted out of play.
What a series for David Segui. He hit the ball that Otis Nixon lost. He hit the ball that bounced over Sean Green's head. He hit a home run tonight, and he hit a double here in the 13th. Good thing the Expos didn't trade him. Popped up in the field of play. Not what Felipe Alou wanted as Gonzalez makes the catch, one down.
Well, your job there after leadoff double is to pull the ball, at least advance the base runner to third, and you could see Orsulak upset, probably not quite as upset as Alou.
Now Timlin will set his sights on rookie Vladimir Guerrero. Another big night for the 21-year-old. And the Blue Jays don't want to have anything to do with him. They will walk the right-hand hitting Guerrero and take their chances with switch hitter, in this case left-hand hitting F.P. Santangelo. That's a lot of respect for a guy who's been in the majors just a couple of months.
Now Cito Gaston now has set up the double play, but it's not a lock. Alou's batter will be Santangelo, and he's got pretty good speed. He's grounded into no double plays this year. Batting from the left side, he can get down that line. But Cito Gaston had seen enough of Vladdy Guerrero swing the bat. Extra innings, got a place to put him, so they put him on first.
They walk a 318 hitter to get to a 310 hitter. Segui at second, Guerrero at first. Santangelo the batter. Had a base hit back in the 7th, walked in the 11th. Lines one to second, and a double play. Well, he hasn't grounded into a double play from the left side, but he just hit a rocket to line into one. Blue Jays will come up.
Welcome back to baseball tonight. That's one extra inning game, and that is a long one. There was another extra inning game that we were keeping our eyes on, and it did not take long. I'm talking about the Minnesota Twins and the St. Louis Cardinals, and we'll take you to the 10th inning, and this is what happens. Willie McGee, bottom of 10, one down, and Willie is going to whack it out. There you go. It's gone. 2-1. The Cards win over the Twins tonight, and the Cards on a real mission right now. They have won 8 of 9. But they're still just one up on Houston in the Central because the Astros also won tonight. So there you go. St. Louis edging Minnesota 2-1 as Willie McGee whacks one out of here. That one took 10. Who knows when the game at Skydome is going to end.
Back here at Skydome, the Blue Jays got the double play they were looking for to get out of the inning, but it was not your conventional double play, Bob.
No, they got a line drive off the bat of F.P. Santangelo. Garcia looks at first and still has time to go to second to double off David Segui. Garcia's had a good night, both with the glove and with the bat. He'll be the second batter to face a new pitcher, Anthony Telford. Telford came up in the Orioles organization. Some of the Blue Jays will remember him from Baltimore. You see his numbers for the season. Alex Gonzalez is trying to get a read on Telford's timing.
Mike Timlin goes 3 1/3 shutout innings after being the short man and saving 3 games in the Baltimore series. He shows that he can stretch it out and go longer if the Blue Jays need him to. Lee Smith goes 2 good innings for Montreal. Now Telford in the 13th to face Gonzalez, Garcia, and Nixon. Couple of hits tonight for Gonzalez, including an RBI double. Also singled his last time up off Smith and sends a fly ball high and deep to left center field. Whiteback leaps and makes the grab at the wall.
White made a great catch here on Monday night. This wasn't in the great category, but he had a long run Gonzalez gives it a ride. He's got to jump up on the wall, and you can see he made it rather easily. He had a long run over to the alley in left field, but takes away extra bases from Alex Gonzalez.
Now Garcia drops one into right field, and he has a 4-hit night, his first 4-hit game as a member of the Blue Jays. He scampers back to first. You got to watch Guerrero out in right.
Well, Guerrero throws this ball back to first base, and it hits Garcia. Segui can't put a glove on it, and it hit Garcia in the back of the left leg. Guerrero's always looking to throw somebody out. You can see it hit him in the back of the left leg.
Second career 4-hit game for Garcia. First is a Blue Jay. Nixon is the batter. 1 out, 1 on in the bottom of the 13th, all tied up at 6. Blue Jays out hitting the Expos 14-10. Montreal has committed the only error of the night, but still a tie game. Hurts to lose these ones, no matter who loses. Yeah, a little bit more normal.
Both teams have really played tough in this ball game. The bullpens have come in and shut down both offenses. Blue Jays haven't scored since the 6th. Expos scored the tying runs into the 7th.
Nixon tonight is 0 for 4. He's walked. He's also had a sacrifice, been aboard on an error, stolen a base, scored a run. This is his 7th plate appearance as Garcia draws a throw. And again, the Expos have had all kinds of trouble throwing out runners. Look at those numbers.
Those are as ugly as it gets.
Telford with a 1-1 count on Nixon. Garcia the runner at first, not going, and a breaking ball misses to Nixon. 2-1. Garcia's 9 for 10 as a base stealer this season. Blue Jays 3rd in the league in stolen bases and 1st in percentage. Not numbers you would normally associate with a Toronto team. Blue Jays have more than 30 more stolen bases than the Expos do. Another surprise. Nixon takes it low. 3-1. On deck, Orlando Merced. Back to the mound. Staggers Telford, and he throws wildly, but a great play is made at the bag by Grzelcyk to at least get 1 out. He saved that ball from going into center field.
Boy, that was disaster all the way. Telford lost his balance when he grabbed the comebacker in a rush to get the throw off the second. Watch how he stumbles right there. And when he does that, he throws it to the shortstop side. Look at the effort by Grzelcyk. He said, I had contact. Look how quickly he reacts and tells the umpire, Dave Phillips, that he had contact. And Phillips indeed calls Garcia out on the force play at second. Boy, what an effort.
So now Nixon at first, 2 down, and here's Merced. And a throw over. Nixon has a stolen base tonight, his 36th of the season. Merced's got a couple of base hits, and each of his last 2 times up has lined the ball sharply to the outfield, once to left, once to center. Another throw over. And another reliever up. Luis Andujar is throwing for the Blue Jays. 4 relievers have already been used. But the Blue Jays don't win it here. Andujar will come out for the 14th.
Big gap in right center as Merced pulled a couple of balls here, and because of that, Guerrero is playing him to pull in right. Pitch out. Wow. Oops. Widger almost went out too far. He jumped so far out he had to reach back and stab that pitch out. See how far out he is, and then Telford throws the ball inside. They might do it again. Just trying to guess with Otis Nixon.
Well, their pitchers do concern themselves with runners, don't they?
It's not working. They have given up over 100 stolen bases.
Throwing out under 10% as a team. Major League average would be somewhere around 30. A 1-0 count on Merced. Nixon leaning and diving back in. Just did get back. Nixon was trying to time the move, and he just kept leaning and leaning and leaning and losing his balance more and more.
Well, he really loads up on that left leg, and you can see he had started his momentum toward second. He will actually push off that back leg, and he kind of rocks into that back leg as he gets his momentum going back and forth.
Still just a 1-0 count on Merced. Expos quite occupied with a Nixon, and they throw over again. Now it's the Blue Jays fans here in the ballpark tonight. Their turn to get a little more vocal as they voice their displeasure with the Expo tactics. Fouled off, 1-1. Nixon was not running on the play. Two down in the bottom of the 13th inning. A ball and a strike, not going, and missing outside is Telford. 2-1. Good count here for the Blue Jays if they so choose. Maybe a little hit and run with Merced.
Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't forced the issue here, especially in extra innings. They've had a couple of opportunities to run, and they choose not to.
Nixon obviously makes his own call out on the bases. Sometimes he likes to draw a few throws to gauge the pitcher's move. He has certainly drawn a number of throws from Telford. Is he not running on his own as the sign to come in for the bench? Did the Gonzalez caught stealing earlier in the game change the Blue Jays way of thinking?
It won't change it with Otis, I'm sure. Cito has a lot of respect for his judgment. Pitch out again.
And not going. Good thing for the Blue Jays he wasn't. It's 3-1. You don't see a pitch out on a 2-1 count all that often.
No, but it's a good time to gamble. You got to figure that Lewis says, when's Otis going to run? 2-1's the best running count, so why not call a pitch out? Now you got to throw a strike.
Carter on deck. Ball 4. Nixon never has to run. Couple of pitch outs lead to a walk and lead to a first and second. 2 out at the bat for Joe Carter.
Felipe Alou with that long slow walk out to the mound. Wow, he's bringing in Urbina. Urbina's the closer. Picked up his 15th save here last night. So Alou make the move. Urbina is a strikeout guy. Telford can't get out of the 13th.
Getting pretty lonely down in the bullpens for both teams right now. Urbina becomes the 6th pitcher of the night for Montreal. The Blue Jays have used 5 and will use a 6th in Andujar if this game goes to the 14th inning. But if you're going to play 4 hours, you may as well win it, I guess.
Yes, that's what you got to do. Whatever it takes. He's still got a good arm down there in Urbina. Urbina picked up his 15th save last night. He has saved 2 in a row in his last 2 appearances. He saved 7 in a row. 18 walks, 42 strikeouts. If you've not seen this guy pitch before, he's very animated. He throws very hard. He's got a lot of life in his fastball.
He's going to face Joe Carter with 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the 13th. As everyone knows, it was a miserable couple of days against the Expos for Carter until tonight. Breaking out of it with a 3-run home run the other way. He also added a base hit in his last at bat as Joe Carter about to come out of it. He's now got 10 home runs and 50 RBIs on the season. Number 51 would certainly be one of the sweetest of the season if he could deliver the game winner here. Nixon's at second. Merced is at first. And again, the best arm in the outfield is in right. Vladimir Guerrero, the weakest arm in the outfield, is in center. Rondell White. Guerrero's got one of the strongest arms in baseball. The outfield is fairly deep. White's in a couple of steps in center. Nixon the lead from second. And Urbina is ready. Strike 1 to Joe Carter.
First pitch slider. Urbina will throw fastball, slider, occasional change, but not very many.
The 0-1. Just inside. "15 saves on the season for Urbina. Here to just try to hold the Blue Jays and to get this game to the 14th. Carter wouldn't chase. 2-1. He's been a little more patient on those down and away pitches tonight than he was the first couple of games of this series.
Now he has a tendency to get in a rut where he'll actually swing the bat before he sees the ball. He moves before he really picks up the ball. But the home run he hit, he stayed on pretty well. It was a slider away from him.
3-1. And if Carter reaches on a walk, Urbina's going to have the bases loaded and Carlos Delgado to deal with.
Urbina has got it up to 96 miles an hour.
3 balls and a strike.
That ball out of the strike zone upstairs, but Carter got the bat going. Another 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
As we've talked about a couple of times this year, statistically, Joe Carter takes fewer pitches, a smaller percentage of pitches, than any hitter in the American League. Runners get a head start. 2 down, full count. Into center field. Here comes White. It'll drop. And the Blue Jays will win it on a base hit by Joe Carter in the 13th. His 4th RBI of the night. A 7-6 win to salvage the final game of this 3-game set with the Montreal Expos. Mike Timlin goes 3 1/3 to pick up the win. Not a smiling Joe Carter, still kind of a determined and grumpy looking Joe Carter, but the base hit fell in front of White, and the Blue Jays win it in 13.
Well, Carter hit a blast earlier, a 3-run homer, and this time he hits a bloop in front of a diving Rondell White, but it's enough to chase home the winning run.
Expos lose a tough one. Blue Jays win it 7-6 in 13. The player of the game for the Blue Jays is Joe Carter. A couple of base hits and a homer. He drives in 4, including the winner. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of Carter and Samsung. All 3 games between Toronto and Montreal, 1-run affairs. The Blue Jays finally win one, 7-6 in 13. Expos take 2 of 3. Atlanta going to Montreal. The Yankees going to Toronto. Good series between the Blue Jays and Expos as we send you back to baseball tonight. And Mike Toad. Mike?
All right, thanks very much, Dan. It was a great game. You know, the great sports columnist from the LA Times, Jim Murray, once said, "I never went to the ballpark in a hurry in my life." I echo those thoughts. I didn't want this series to end. Some magical memories created by the Montreal Expos and the Toronto Blue